3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the place where you're not overly ostentatious, New Orleans Convention Center, day number 5, Radio Row, the last show that we have for you on Radio Row. And then on Monday, I'll still be here in New Orleans because I'm going to the game, but I'll be doing it for one of our affiliates, WWL, right here in New Orleans, about a 5-minute walk. So the quickest walk to ever start out a radio show. But we welcome you in on this Friday, Football Friday. Oh, this is sad. It's the last Football Friday of this football season, with the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. Zach Gelb here with you, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. across all great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, and, of course, streaming on YouTube. I'm actually really annoyed to start the show. You could always hit us up, by the way, 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. Guest list today, Dan Marino, going to stop by. Aaron Jones and Andrew Van Ginkel together. Kevin Harlan, who will be calling the Super Bowl with our great friends at Westwood One. Pat Surtain II, who is now the Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to join us. Will Anderson Jr. is going to join us. Donovan McNabb, number 5, is going to stop by. And we got a whole lot more fun for the next 3 hours with you. But I'm really, really, really annoyed. And I don't know if Stu or Samter are familiar with this. I have talked about this on the air before, so as long as Stu and Samter have been paying attention, they should know what happened. But with that being said, in New York City, Bradley Cooper opened up a cheesesteak spot. And it is in partnership with, I believe, the people that run Angelo's in Philadelphia, which is one of the creme de la creme cheesesteak spots. Samter, are you familiar, just wondering, with this new place, Danny and Coop's? I think it's right by our office, actually, that Bradley Cooper has opened up. Yes. So your mic's not on. Let's see if we get Samter's mic on, and then we could get to that. I think it's on now. I hear you in my headset.
Yes. I have heard of it. It is in the East Village. I have seen it. It's not that far from where we broadcast out of, but I have not been there yet.
Stu?
Yes, I've heard of it. I heard there's big lines is what I've heard.
That's the thing. And when I went to the divisional round game, I walked into Lincoln Financial Field, and Bradley Cooper was there, and he was literally walking in right behind me, but he had so many people with him, so I wasn't going to stop him and talk about the cheesesteak place. But this cheesesteak I've really wanted to try, and the lines are just ridiculous in New York City. I'm talking, folks, 3 hours to wait for a cheesesteak. This has been a viral kind of sensation on TikTok where people go and they try the Bradley Cooper, Danny and Coop's cheesesteak. And I didn't expect to open up a Final Football Friday of the year talking about this. But to bring this full circle, and the reason I'm bringing this up, Stu, is I guess Bradley Cooper's in town for the Super Bowl. Duh. He's an Eagles fan. Eagles are in the game. There's a Danny and Coop's cheesesteak truck here in New Orleans, and Elliott Shore Parks is trying the cheesesteak right now. And Stu, the background is what annoys me. In the background, it looks like there's only 7 people in line.
Oh.
So you have the Danny and Coop's cheesesteak here in New Orleans, and there's only 7 people online. And if that ever happened in New York City, it would be as if the Pope was coming to town with how many people would just flood the streets. So as I get on the show, and right, we could always, say we're going to talk about this, talk about that. There's just some things that break, and usually it's football news or it's basketball news, something along those lines. But the fact that we are starting a Football Friday with food, it just seems right. But geez, this really, as Emmitt Smith would say, this makes me hot. Because now the rest of the show, I'm going to be thinking about this delicious cheesesteak and how I can't get it in New York. And I'm in Philly enough. When I'm in Philly, I'm usually there, like, in and out, going to a game, then going home. And Angelo's could be a wait. But they have that cheesesteak here in New Orleans, of all places. I don't think they're putting, like, alligator in it. I bet you it's just the Cooper Sharp cheese and obviously the meat and some onions. But that's being served up not even to the masses. Literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in line right now. So that's how we start the final Football Friday of the football season. So we are here live in New Orleans, and we have a great show for you today. But I want to start with the game. Sometimes we go away from our stereotypical kind of radio program that we usually do and how you're accustomed to listening to it. So we appreciate you guys all throughout the week, obviously, staying with us. And I know there hasn't been a lot of just segments of just me talking because of how many great guests that we do have. And those guests will continue to pile on in today. But I want to start the show just talking about this game. Because all week I've been here, the buzz has picked up a little bit. It is still not a strong buzz type of Super Bowl. But as I've said all throughout the week, I don't think the listener at home really cares about all the parties that go on here, all the nightlife that goes on here, all the food that people consume here. And trust me, I have consumed a lot of food with the po' boys and the jambalaya and the gumbo and all the fish that I've had this week. Alligator, which has been absolutely delicious too. And yeah, like you go out, you see people like, I was out last night and saw Donovan McNabb and Michael Irvin, and number 5 said he'll stop by coming up later on in the show. So that's always going to be fun. So it's always a who's at the Super Bowl, especially on Bourbon Street, where everyone, kind of just blends in, and you have, these celebrities walking by, and, you're meeting people, which is pretty neat. But when you get towards Sunday, that's why people care, because it's who wins, who loses, who jumps into the record books, and who ends up getting criticized, and reasonings for why teams try to justify their loss. Like, hey, bizarre Eagles history. 1980, when they lost the Super Bowl to the Raiders. Well, I sound like Christopher Mad Dog Russo. 1980, when they lost to the Raiders. But when you look at that Super Bowl, a lot of people got critical of Dick Vermeil with this strict curfew time. And people thought, had no curfew it was. That's what it was. And people thought that's why the Philadelphia Eagles ended up losing that Super Bowl. It was either it was too strict or wasn't enough curfew time, or there was no curfew time. But that was the reason. And it has nothing to do with that. Like, the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's a legendary story. In that Super Bowl, Pittsburgh, Arizona, the one with Santonio Holmes and James Harrison, a lot of those Steelers defensive players, the night before the game, the night before the Super Bowl, they were playing cards amongst one another. And they stood up and stayed up until like 5 or 6 in the morning. They played cards in the defensive, on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know how many, but a good amount. And they played cards until 5 or 6 in the morning. Think about that. Night before the Super Bowl. And they won. So don't tell me a curfew, is a reason why you win or lose, or you don't get enough sleep. The better team, whoever that is on Sunday, here's the hot take of the year, is going to win the game. Duh. But when I look at this Super Bowl, there is a great fear, and deservedly so, when I talk to a lot of these players, and I hear players make predictions. And, right, players could just be like us. They'll get the predictions right. They'll get the predictions wrong. But when you talk to the majority of the players, there is a great confidence that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this game, and it's because of the respect and fear and the ability of what happens with Patrick Mahomes, also with Steve Spagnuolo, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones. You go through all that, and those 5 names are the biggest 5 names for the Kansas City Chiefs, and the most important. And you look at all 5 of them. Mahomes, top 3 quarterback already of all time. Travis Kelce, one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Andy Reid, one of the greatest head coaches of all time. Chris Jones, the last few years, one of the most clutch players in the league. Steve Spagnuolo, arguably the greatest assistant coach of all time, right? Should be in the Hall of Fame. And you have those credentials with the Chiefs team that's good. The weapons are okay. Kelce is no longer great, but he's still really damn good. You got Pacheco and you got Kareem Hunt. Good 1-2 punch in the backfield. Wide receivers, they're solid. Xavier Worthy is solid. And you go through the rest of this roster, it's not as if this is the greatest Kansas City Chiefs roster ever. And you could argue this isn't even their best team, even though they only had 2 losses here, really only 1, of all these teams that have been to Super Bowls for Kansas City and have won them. But it's those 5, and knowing that those 5 are never out of a game and what it does mentally. And I think the Eagles are a mentally strong football team. And I think the Eagles have a confidence. This Eagles team, people will say, oh, they remind me of the team a few years ago. No. This team is more like the 52 team. And sure, Nick Foles was their quarterback, and you had the weird storyline with Wentz getting hurt and all that. But this Eagles team is better than the 52 team. And that Eagles team, I thought they were going to beat my Patriots in the Super Bowl. They just had a confidence that they were going to get the job done. And I sensed that confidence from Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Carter. Hopefully, he's all right. I was reading some, I don't know if it's true or not, but I was reading some story that he was a little bit under the weather. You got Brandon Graham probably coming on back. You got Zach Bond, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. You just go through all the names here for the Eagles. Not only are they the better 1 through 53 team, and that doesn't mean that you win the game, but they are a really confident group. And I think you need a certain level of confidence, almost like an effort mentality, to be able to beat this team in the Kansas City Chiefs. Because even if you're up, and hey, the Eagles know it, they were up in that Super Bowl, no lead is safe. No lead is safe up against Mahomes, just like how no lead was safe, with Tom Brady, until the game is over. And you've seen the comebacks that Kansas City has had in this run, whether it was up against the Texans in the divisional round, in those 2 AFC championship games, not the most recent one with Buffalo, but that first one with Buffalo, and then also with Tennessee. And you look at the Super Bowls, they were down 10 in the first Super Bowl to the 49ers with 7.5 to go. 7.5 to go, and they won the damn game. So no lead, 13 seconds, we know that. No lead is safe against Kansas City. And that's why I think the start of this game, in a weird spot, it may actually be more important than the end of the game. Because the start of the game, the Eagles have to come out swinging, and they got to build a lead, and they just got to hope at the end that the lead is big enough where even Mahomes can't stage the comeback. That's, to me, is something that is enormous here. And you look at, and I've been saying it through the week, and I'll say it to Will Anderson Jr. when he stops by as well. That game, Texans and Chiefs, the Texans could have won that game. The Texans' defense was awesome in the first half. The problem was the offense couldn't do jack. The offense couldn't do squat. And with the way that game was, the Texans had to have a big lead. And even if you get out to a double-digit lead up against Kansas City, it's not safe, but you got to put yourself in that position. And I look at the Eagles, they're the best team in football this year. And we'll see if it's enough to find a way to beat Kansas City. But that Eagles team, they got the horses. They got the ammunition. And they have the ability for a 60-minute game to find a way to take care of business up against the Chiefs. Because this Eagles defense is arguably the best in the league. And these two defenses, I keep on going to this. The defenses, to me, are the most intriguing part in this game. Kansas City's defense is still criminally underrated. The last few years, Kansas City's defense has been their best unit. But all we do, because this is what we do, is talk about quarterback, coach, tight end. Quarterback, coach, tight end when it comes to Kansas City. That's what we do. But when you look at this Chiefs team, I'm talking about Chris Jones. I'm talking about George Karlaftis. I'm talking about Trent McDuffie. Steve Spagnuolo. It's just one of those things where you look at Kansas City, and with how great their defense is, and their offense will be good enough, the Eagles are perfectly equipped to beat them. Because when you look at this Eagles team with Jalen, if he's not at his best, then Saquon could go off. If Saquon's not at his best, then Jalen could go off. A.J. Brown could go off. Devontae Smith could go off. Dallas Goedert could go off. It's just such a good damn team in Philly that they have the best chance on this stage, with also their defense and all the players, to slay this dragon. And that's what they're trying to do. You're trying to slay a dragon. You're trying to slay the king. You're trying to put a dent in the dynasty of the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy whatsoever. But I think the Eagles will win the game. I do. And I think the Eagles are going to be able to find a way to go blow for blow with the Kansas City Chiefs And it's because of that offense, the weapons on offense, and the defense. I just think they'll be able to find a way to get Mahomes to make a mistake. And whichever defense gets the big play, even when you go back to the Eagle-Patriots Super Bowl, the second one, that was a high-octane offensive game. It's not really remembered for defense. I know all we do is talk about the Philly special. The biggest play of the game was Brandon Graham with the strip sack. That was the biggest play of the game. So what I look for in this game, the two biggest things, not in terms of individual matchups, because I think the defensive front for the Eagles up against the Chiefs offensive line is the most fascinating, and then always the storyline of Mahomes. But if I look for two things with the Eagles in terms of just how the flow of the game does play on out, it's the start, and can they build that lead and hope the Chiefs just can't catch it. And then also, it's at the end of the game, can you finally force Mahomes to make a crucial mistake? That's what it is. And all these great quarterbacks, we've seen it from all of them. Haven't seen it from Mahomes yet. But we remember their great moments, especially when you have all those rings, and it's easy to flush out those bad moments, but they're still bad moments. They're still human, and they still aren't perfect. But right now, as I Sharpie in the prediction, 31-23, I am taking the Philadelphia Eagles coming up on Sunday. All righty, Zach Gelb here with you. We are live in New Orleans, Radio Row, day number 5. I can't believe how quick this week has gone by. Dan Marino is going to join us on the other side. Aaron Jones and Andrew Van Ginkel still to come. Kevin Harlan is going to join us live on set. Pat Surtain II, the Defensive Player of the Year, will stop by. Will Anderson Jr. going to join us today, and Donovan McNabb as well. We'll take a timeout, 17 after the hour. A whole lot more to do. We come on back with Dan Marino, the Pro Football Hall of Famer, next on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All righty, welcome back inside the Convention Center. Zach Gelb here with you, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network, as we are broadcasting to you live Radio Row for Super Bowl 59 between the Chiefs and the Eagles. Make sure you visit NAMI.org, NAMI.org/thebiggame. And now joining us on behalf of that is obviously the Pro Football Hall of Famer, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, in Dan Marino. Dan, how you been?
Doing good, bud. Doing real good. Just been here, got here last night and doing the whole Radio Row thing. It's all right.
Did you get a good meal?
Not yet.
So I know what you're doing when you get out of here.
Not yet.
You like the food down here in New Orleans, I'm assuming?
Oh yeah, I've been here many times for, not only playing, but yeah, I do enjoy the food.
Yeah. My favorite's when I get to go down to Miami and go to Joe's.
There you go, Joe's. I had Joe's the other day.
Yeah.
I got it delivered to the house, which is where you got to do it.
You get the VIP treatment. I walk in, I get the fried chicken, I get the hash browns, you get the stone crabs. Oh, just absolutely delicious.
And did you have to wait?
So I know someone that's a big player there, so they get me right in and then they get me out.
There you go.
So let me ask you this right out of the gate. Just tell me what you're doing today.
So have an affiliation with NOMNI and National Alliance on Mental Illness. I'm chopping this up. I am so sorry. But and then we also have Stay Healthy Zone, which is a company that I'm a part of, and we're going to have an alliance with NAMI and be partners in our digital company for diets, nutrition, workout programs to help with the awareness of NAMI. And that's the thing; it's all about the awareness to get out there. They've been around. NAMI's been around for 40 years or more, whatever it may be, but they do a great job. And the thing is about the most important thing I would say is just to let people know to talk about issues. If you have a problem, if there's issues, obviously mentally or any other issues, get with your friends. Don't be ashamed to do that. Go see a doctor and get taken care of.
Yeah, and I think that's something it's now more accepting, because for so many years, right, us men would be like, oh, we don't have problems, we don't need to talk about it. But now I think it's a lot more accepting in society to say, okay, you need help.
Yep. There's no doubt about it. And everybody, every family has issues somewhere, or they know someone. And that's why it's so important for the awareness of what NAMI's doing, and the awareness with Stay Healthy Zone. It's so important.
The ascension of Mahomes, and I'm not just talking about obviously in the league, we all know he's the best quarterback, but in terms of all time, what he's already been able to do, just you being one of the best quarterbacks ever, just what really stands out when you watch him compared to someone like me on the couch?
Well, he's just special all the way around. I mean, you think about the things he could do with football, arm strength, accuracy, throwing it from all different angles. But to me, his competitiveness, because you see how he's wins games, come from behind, it plays all the time, never hurt. That's, to me, that's the special thing about him is you can count on him every week, getting out there and giving you a chance to win, and that's what makes him special.
What do you think goes through the mind of guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, right? Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP. Josh won the MVP last night. And every time they go up against him, those games are close. They could beat him in the regular season, but they just can't get the job done in the postseason. Even when they play well, we all know it's a team game, but geez, it's got to be so frustrating.
Yeah, it is frustrating for anybody that's competitive and gets that far. I mean, for Josh Allen, he's probably going to be thinking about, that loss for, the whole offseason until he plays another football game. And that's just, if you're competitive and you love what you do, that's going to be part of it. And Lamar Jackson, same way. He's had his chances, but he can't just get over that hump. And that stuff stays with you, not only for 1 year, it stays with you for a long time.
Yeah, and when we look at you, obviously they say he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but it's always followed up with, but he never was able to win a Super Bowl. But still, it shows how great you were, because a lot of times now in the society, you either have the ring or you don't, and we value rings now, especially at the quarterback position, more than ever before.
Yeah, well, you're good for my ego. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And that's something it's something that I think about all the time, especially when I come to the Super Bowl and I got to think about I haven't won one of these Super Bowls. So thanks for bringing it up.
But you know what, Boomer Esiason is our colleague, and how many people, right? Just talk show hosts that Boomer calls us all NARPs, non-athletic regular people. And everyone just stabs Boomer in the back. Oh, how was the Super Bowl? So, throwing the interception, all that stuff. And it's not a day you don't live it down. And Boomer Esiason's an MVP. You're one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Yes. And it's something, like I said, it doesn't leave you, and it's part of it. You just got to accept it now because you can't do anything about it.
And this guy, Jalen Hurts, really the Eagles, for us football fans, he's the last hope for us and this Philadelphia team, because the Ravens can't get the job done up against these guys. The Niners, they lost twice. The Bills can't get the job done now 4 times in the postseason. The Eagles, they were up in the Super Bowl a few years ago. They couldn't get the job done. If Philly can't do it this weekend, I don't know who's going to beat the Chiefs.
Well, the thing is, Jalen Hurts gives them a chance to win. He really does. And then you got Saquon Barkley. That's not a bad idea. And I would suggest run the ball as much as you can and keep Mahomes off the field and try to, use the clock to keep him out of the game. And then, the other thing is Jalen Hurts is he's above average inside the pocket, but when he gets out and runs and he's moving, he makes really good decisions throwing the football, and that's where he's at his best.
Do you think he's disrespected as a quarterback?
No, I wouldn't say that. No, he's in the Super Bowl. How do you disrespect that? I would never say that.
Yeah, I just think the way that a lot of us look at it, because you turn on TV, and they still just only put the passing stats. He's more than just a passing quarterback. You got to put the total yards with him.
Well, sure. They do it with Josh Allen, don't they? I think so. Yeah. So, well, I'll make a suggestion for that next time I see somebody.
You got a lot of power. You're like
I got that kind of power.
You're the godfathers of the NFL these days. You have a problem, go to Dan Marino. He'll talk to someone.
Sure.
He'll fix it. Before we let you run with Tua, how do you view Tua as a quarterback?
Well, I think he's excellent. I've been around him a lot. He's accurate. He has a strong arm, makes really good decisions, gets rid of the ball quick, all those things you want in a quarterback. And I think if you ask Tua, he'd probably just want to be healthier over the last couple of years. And that would be coming from him, I'm telling you. And we get that. If we can get him playing each and every game, then we have a chance to win any game we play in.
And anytime he suffers a concussion, it's different compared to any other player in the league. When you saw what happened this year, and obviously in the past, there was that conversation, should he keep on playing football? Clearly, he elected to do so and return. What did you kind of think of that whole conversation?
Well, I think that's something that's personal. Oh, jeez. What happened to the seat there? I think that's something that's personal, for him and his family, and and you have to just do the research and make good decisions. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
Do the research and make a good decision about your health. And I think the NFL does a really good job of trying to get the players to be as healthy as they can and look out for their future. I think they do.
So last thing I'll ask you here, when it comes to Tyreek Hill and this whole future with the Dolphins, it seemed as if he was just frustrated at the end of the season, and then he was saying he wanted out, and then he took that back, I guess, through Drew Rosenhaus. You fully expect Tyreek to be in the Dolphins next year?
Yeah, I do. I'd like to play him to be my receiver for sure. Yeah, I expect that.
So Dan Marino here on behalf of NAMI. We really appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Got it.
Take care, bud.
There he is, Dan Marino joining us on the show. Zach Gelb here with you on Radio Row. We will take a break. By the way, I just saw this about a second ago, and we ended it with the Tyreek Hill conversation. Tyreek was actually just at the table over from us, and let me just search this real quickly because I think Tyreek Hill just spoke on his future. Yes, to Pro Football Talk. He actually apologized to his teammates for the comments that he said after the game, where he was very frustrated after the Dolphins' season came to an end, and he went out of his way to say that he loves the Dolphins and he wants to be with the Miami Dolphins. He regrets his comments from Week 18 from Pro Football Talk, and he wants to stay with the Miami Dolphins. So, hey, some good PR, I guess, to do that on Radio Row. He was on with Chris Sims and also with Mike Florio. So I would say we could put that story to rest, but then there's always a lack of trust, if I'm just being transparent, when it comes with Tyreek Hill. And, hey, he's a wide receiver that obviously likes to talk a lot, and I think that he was just frustrated because the season didn't go the way that they wanted it to. But also, you made your bed, now you got to lie in it. You were with Kansas City. They wanted to keep you. You wanted more money. You wanted the better destination in terms of living condition, living in Miami compared to Kansas City, and you walked away from this. So, yeah, he was a good teammate from the start, said all these positive things about Patrick Mahomes, about Tua Tagovailoa, but your quarterback is good, not great. Your team is good, solid, not great. And your team is nowhere close to winning a Super Bowl. So you want to win, but you also wanted your money, and you also wanted to get out of Kansas City and go to Miami. So I get it in terms of, what used to happen, but now you're in this spot, and the only one you have to blame for that is yourself. So, I get being frustrated, and I think it comes from a good place, but you got to know how to control the emotions in that spot, and you can't go to a level where you're basically, something doesn't go your way, and now you're demanding a trade. Like Myles Garrett demanded a trade. We all got it. Tyreek Hill demanding a trade? Like, come on. That was silly, and I guess he walked it back. All right, we'll take a timeout from the Convention Center. Zach Gelb here with you on Radio Row and the Infinity Sports Network. When we return, Aaron Jones and Andrew Van Ginkel will join us live on set. Update time first. Send it back to New York City studios. Here is the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
This is the 10th Super Bowl rematch, and the Eagles looking to avenge a loss to the Chiefs in Super Bowl 57. Nick Sirianni's crew came up short 2 years ago. This, though, a much different team. For one, they now feature the Offensive Player of the Year in Saquon Barkley, and for another, they're markedly better on defense. However, the Eagles coach is quick to remind everybody that Patrick Mahomes is on the other side.
We'll have to be on our game. We'll have to tackle well. We'll have to get off blocks well. We'll have to rush well. Have to be on the same page. He obviously presents a lot of challenges. He's a phenomenal football player and presents a lot of challenges, so we'll have to be at the top of our game.
The NFL is headed to Ireland next year for the first time, as the Steelers will host the first game against an opponent that has yet to be determined. In the NBA tonight, the Cavaliers are in Washington looking to add to the NBA's best record after adding to their roster, picking up DeAndre Hunter at the trade deadline. The Thunder, the best in the West, host Toronto and get a spark from the return of Chet Holmgren from a hip injury. An old-fashioned Big East matchup tonight in stores where number 19 UConn welcomes 12th ranked and conference leader St. John's. The Red Storm have won 9 in a row and are looking to continue their surge against the two-time defending champs who have had their number in recent years. I'm Rich Ackerman.
855-212-4227. That's the number to get in touch with us, the Infinity Sports Network. Give us a call, 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break.
4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining.
Okay. This won't go out on the stream, right?
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, back inside the New Orleans Convention Center. Zach Gelb here with you on Radio Row for the Infinity Sports Network. We should have Aaron Jones and Andrew Van Ginkel coming by. They're running a little bit late, so we will get to them coming up later in the show. Kevin Harlan will join us today. Pat Surtain II will stop by. Will Anderson Jr. And then number 5, Donovan McNabb, will join us as well, as this is our final day in New Orleans for Radio Row. I can't say final day in New Orleans because I'm going to be here Saturday, Sunday, and then I'll be doing the show Monday at WWL, but you get the point. So we'll try to connect with Aaron Jones, Andrew Van Ginkel later on in the program. But let's do a little onside offside on this Friday. Let's send it back to our New York City studios where they will play the sounder for us.
Touchdowns, sacks, upsets, and last-minute heroics. Another NFL Sunday is in the books, and we've got you covered with the biggest plays and sound bites from another wild week in the National Football League. It's time for No Huddle Offense on the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, let's do a little... Wait. Did you just play No Huddle Offense?
And I don't think any of us noticed it either.
Oh, my God. That's funny. No, it's not the end of the world, but I'm sitting there because you're talking and your mic's on, and I hear you talking. And then I'm like, okay, they're playing something, and then I hear No Huddle Offense is about to get going, so whatever. Who cares? It's a Friday.
Take 2. I have the good one ready to go.
Take 2. All right, go ahead, Nico. Play it. Let's see if you get it right this time.
Zach's taking on the most polarizing issues in sports. Which side of the line of scrimmage will he end up on?
Offside.
It's the wrong one.
Defense number 69.
Wait, no, not again.
Offsides with Zach Gelb.
Nico's paying attention today. Offside. No, we're putting you on the bench here, Nico. We're going to Samter here. We're going to audible. Let's go to Samter here. What do we got cooking?
All right, well, the big game is Sunday, but the football world's eyes were on the NFL honors last night. Saquon Barkley took home Offensive Player...
Saquon Barkley.
He did. Offensive Player of the Year, while Josh Allen, in a surprise, maybe, won the MVP. Allen became the first player in 21 seasons to win the award despite not being named All-Pro First Team, which obviously went to Lamar Jackson. So onside, offside, Josh Allen should have been a first-team All-Pro as well.
So I was going through security today, and one of the security guards asked me, he goes, do you think they got it right for MVP? And I said, yes. He goes, but Lamar Jackson had the better season. I go, the award, though, is most valuable player. So you would think if you're the most valuable player, you'd be first-team All-Pro. I think Lamar Jackson had the better season statistically. But when you look at value, which is the award, I thought that there was no player in the league this year that was more valuable than Josh Allen. And I look at Lamar, he had Derrick Henry. Something against Lamar. I love Lamar. Lamar had a great season. But when you look at value and your second best player is James Cook and your wide receivers were a group of wide receivers and none were all that impressive with Raheem Shaheed. You got Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. Without Josh Allen, that Bills team could have been a bottom 5 team in football. So I'm not saying that the Ravens would be great without Lamar Jackson, but with Derrick Henry running the ball, if you just get an average quarterback, they could be an 8 or 9 win football team, and if you get 9 wins, you could potentially make the playoffs. So in a weird way, All-Pro, I'm okay with Josh Allen not being first-team All-Pro and winning the MVP because they're two different things.
Interesting.
To me, All-Pro is who was the best quarterback, who had the best statistics, things like that, when the award is most valuable, and we usually just associate who's the best player gets the most valuable, but the value definition to me is what the difference is for me. So Josh Allen should have been first-team All-Pro. For this, I would actually be okay with them winning the MVP and not, and that just shows how great of a season that Lamar Jackson did have. So I'm going offside.
Offside.
Now, the Pro Football Hall of Fame announced its inductees last night, and absent was longtime Giants quarterback and 2-time Super Bowl MVP Eli Manning. while Eli was never considered a great regular season quarterback, he did win those 2 Super Bowls. And I forget who he beat in those 2 games. I forget what team, what quarterback.
You want to get punched?
What was it? Was it the Eagles?
You want to get punched?
You got to be over it by now.
Not the second one.
Oh, yeah.
The first one, yes.
It's so amazing.
Second one, no.
You're the only fan I know who considers the second one to be a bigger disappointment than the first. But it's interesting.
No. I'm just more annoyed with it.
Was it because it was the second one? Because you...
No. It's because the second one, they were the better team and lost. They beat themselves in that game. The first one, the Giants just beat the snot out of them, and they played like the better team that day. The second one, when Patrick Chung laid out a wide receiver, I think they're up 9 or 10 in the second half. As a kid, I thought high school, I thought the game was over. I really did. But that second one still bugs me to this day.
It's amazing. It made how long after I still get bugged by some of those old Jets games.
No, wait.
Now, well, I mean, I used to be a fan. Now I get to be benefited by the Chiefs.
You know what? We should have got you
a giant Jets hat.
Hold on. I'm gonna give you the big hat, but every time you put this hat on, I almost just want to rip off the Chiefs logo and just write "dunce" on it, because it is a giant dunce cap. That's what that is.
Well,
so,
I am a dunce.
So
I have been called that before. All right, so onside.
I go more putts.
Onside, offside. Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer because I don't think you could tell the history of the game without Eli Manning, and the 2 Super Bowls is what gets him in. Did he need to get in on the first try? Like these Giant fans, I'm sure Marash is probably bitching about it. Oh, Eli deserves to be in first ballot. Blah, blah, blah. Like, no, he doesn't need to. I don't love the first ballot thing. Either you're Hall of Famer or you're not. And I think Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer. That's the question. But as if Eli Manning got screwed from the Hall of Fame last night and he got screwed at the honor of first ballot, no. I get it, top 10 all-time passing yards, top 10 touchdowns. You never viewed him as a top 3, top 5 quarterback in the league, but he was a killer, an absolute killer in the postseason. I know that Curt Schilling was a better regular season pitcher than Eli Manning was a postseason regular season quarterback, but I think they're similar. Neither would have got in just on their regular season stats alone, but it's in the postseason where Curt Schilling was all-time great. Eli Manning also all-time great in the postseason for the 2 Super Bowl runs that he did go on. So Eli Manning, yes, is a Hall of Famer on side, but the idea that he got screwed last night and that he should have been in definitely 100%, and it was a travesty that he didn't get in a first ballot, on the first ballot, that it just does not register with me.
Now, while Eli didn't make it, Canton will soon be the home of 4 new members, which is also very odd. Smallest class in years. Usually getting 5. This was 4. Former Eagles and Raiders quarterback Eric Allen, former Vikings.
I'm so confused about, by the way. I always thought it was always 5, and then I read today that it's a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5.
I guess that's what it is. I always thought it was supposed to be 5, and there's enough guys in that list who should have been in.
Yeah.
That why wasn't there 5?
Like, just off the top of my head, how is Hines Ward not a Hall of Famer? How is Torrey Holt not a Hall of Famer? Luke Kuechly should be a Hall of Famer. Heck, he wasn't even a finalist this year, but Rodney Harrison should be a Hall of Famer. That's just me spitballing here.
Now, obviously, Eric Allen, Jared Allen as well, former Packers wide receiver Sterling Sharp, and finally, I know it's only 1 year delayed, former Chargers tight end Antonio Gates.
Stupid he didn't get in last year.
I agree.
You know, that's a screw job, first ballot Hall of Famer Antonio Gates, not Eli Manning.
Yeah, and listen, we had Drew Brees on, and Drew Brees echoed the exact same thing you just said.
He was fired up.
Oh, he was pissed. Now, onside, offside, all 4 of the players inducted are worthy of the Hall of Fame.
Jared Allen, absolutely.
Yep.
Sterling Sharp, absolutely. I'll tell you.
Sterling Sharp.
Yes.
That was the one that I was really surprised about.
I wasn't. There's just some great years there. But I look at Sterling Sharp. It was so cool they released the video. And I kind of hate the process now because I like that guy David Baker, the big jolly fella who used to knock on the door. He used to be the president of the Hall of Fame. He would knock on the door and surprise people. But now these guys know weeks in advance.
Yeah.
So Eli Manning was walking around to yesterday. Maybe I don't think there's a sneak attack 10 hours before the Hall of Fame announcement. But you said sneak attack is like cops are walking by. That's probably not a good idea.
I have a funny story about that.
But when that video was shown, Sterling, I guess, was walking in his house and Shannon's house, and Shannon was in the basement as Sterling goes down the basement and he's just in the Hall of Fame jacket. And it was just so cool between both those brothers. And Antonio Gates, absolutely. So onside, offside, all 4 of the players inducted are worthy of the Hall of Fame. Yeah, onside, easy.
I would say I was surprised with Sterling Sharp. I'll say that. He was very good for a short amount of time and then got hurt. But I never felt like he was great for that short of a career. He was very, very good, great for a couple years. But like to have a short career like that ended by injury, I would have assumed like Terrell Davis, who won an MVP and won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
You got to be at that level if your career's shortened. But loved him.
1,423 yards in 89, 1,105 yards in 90, 1,461 yards in 91, 1,274 yards in 93, 1,119 yards in 94, 112 games played, 8,134 yards, 65 touchdowns. He's like, it's going to sound disrespectful. It's not. Like, I'm not knocking this guy because he all-time great. It's kind of like the Terrell Davis of wide receivers. It's sort of like what I would say.
But Terrell Davis won an MVP and 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, as I just said. Not to that level.
Yeah.
But in terms of the shorter career,
right?
Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 great years, and the guy only played in 7 or 8 years in the league.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
Injuries just unfortunately derailed his career, but he's still a great player.
Now there has been a push for an 18th regular season game for some time now.
Stupid.
Well, earlier this week, NFLPA Executive Director Lloyd Howell Jr. made his thoughts on the matter clear.
Right now, when I have talked to the players over the last 2 seasons, no one wants to play an 18th game. No one. The 17 games is already, for many of the guys, too long. 17 games is also so lengthy that you're still dealing with injuries going into the next season. So there are a variety of issues that hang off of the length of the season before any form of negotiation. So what are those? Some of which I spoke to in my opening comments. You've got health and safety issues, recovery. What does that mean in terms of number of bye weeks? What does that mean in terms of the off season? What does that mean in terms of the complexion of the 18?
So onside, offside, the NFL would be better off sticking with just 17 regular season games.
Yeah, the regular season product right now is not that good. So to add an extra regular season game and less preparation for the season, you'll take away another preseason game. I'm not for that. So the NFL will be better off sticking with 17 regular season games. Absolutely. That's onside. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come on back. Live on set next will be the legendary, one of my favorite people of all time, Kevin Harlan.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, welcome back inside the Convention Center here in New Orleans. Zach Gelb here with you coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. Fun show so far as we talked to Dan Marino in the last hour. Still to come, Pat Surtain II will stop by, Will Anderson Jr., and we'll also be joined by number 5, Donovan McNabb. Always enjoy talking to number 5, especially when you do look at this Super Bowl matchup. You got the Eagles connection with Jalen Hurts, and we're going to get his thoughts on Jalen. And then he played for Big Red, Andy Reid. So I do wonder, when you look into that landscape, how moving forward, the Eagle fan, if the Eagles do lose this game on Sunday, are going to look back at Andy Reid. Because Andy Reid was unbelievable for that franchise. Andy Reid got that franchise going back in the right direction. And from that, they laid a foundation of something of a culture that was really good, and eventually it was time for Andy to go. Andy landed on his feet, and he went from being a good coach to a great coach to an all-time great coach. And he got his quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, and they were in the right spot, right? Brady towards the end, Belichick towards the end of their dominance, and once that did disappear, really the floodgates were open. And now we've seen Kansas City win not one, not two, but 3 Super Bowls, and they could win a 4th one. So to see Andy and what he has done. And if Andy wins on Sunday, takes another one away from the Eagles. So that would be 2 times he beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I don't think anyone will ever dislike Andy Reid, but how many times are you going to pretty much, you break up with someone, it's amicable when you break up, but then you see them start to date somebody else, and then you end up getting jealous. Like, that's what it pretty much would be for Andy Reid, and there could be like a little animosity. I don't know if it'd be full animosity, but a little animosity. And, hey, if the Eagles didn't ever win a Super Bowl, I think that storyline would be filled with a little bit more hatred. But since the Eagles did get one, it kind of eases a little bit when they lost the Super Bowl a few years ago. And now joining us live on set, he is one of my favorite broadcasters. And he is one of the best pound-for-pound broadcasters in the business. He could call anything. I've even said this before. Like, Kevin Harlan can at any time talk about anything, and I'm just all ears and I want to listen. The great Kevin Harlan is here with us. Kevin, how you been?
It's so good to see you. Well, we met here, right? Am I back in a long time ago?
Yeah. Well, I was in.
Now I'm going back.
College, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, and you gave me a very nice compliment.
It was a long time ago, and but it's good to see you, my friend.
No, it's great to see you. How's things been? All right? Little Super Bowl week?
Yeah.
Got a game to call on Sunday?
Yeah, I do. I had a game last night in Boston with the Celtics for TNT, and now down here in New Orleans and seeing all the familiar faces, which is always so much fun. But the enormity of the game and the prestige of the game and the honor to broadcast the game is always just so. It's overwhelming when you think about it. And I'm so happy.
Your schedule's crazy. And like if you were an NBA player, right, you'd be asking for load management days. But with what you do, NBA, NFL, all over the place, radio, TV, why does this never get old for you? Just wondering.
Well, I think the challenge of always trying to do it your best, and I don't know that I ever walk away from a broadcast feeling like, boy, I nailed that one, or boy, that one's going to be hard to beat. There's always, when I go back and listen or watch, it's always something I could improve on, something to try to get better. I kind of feel that in this business in particular, if you're not looking to improve and accepting the challenge and knowing that there are hundreds lined up and backing you to do your job that would take that job in a second, that you'll lose it. And if you don't stay on top of things and try to evolve, you're going to find yourself in trouble. So because I love the business so much, like you do, I guess I kind of feel like I'm always looking to get better. So I hope this Super Bowl broadcast in a couple nights is better than the one I did last year. And I hope the one last year was better than the year before. Finding some different way to tweak or turn or twist something into a better call than I did. And I love that challenge. And I guess I'll know when it's time to stop, when I don't feel that need to get better, to evolve and accept the challenge.
You're like the Tom Brady of broadcasting. Seriously. Because there's some guys, right, eventually it's time to retire. For you, you sound as good as ever.
Well, you're very kind to say that. And I will tell you that, and I'm sure you listen to your work too, the only way I think in any profession is to really analyze what you're doing and how you're doing it. And broadcasting is such a subjective business. It's not objective in any way. It's so subjective. You put 10 people in a room, 4 like you, 4 don't, and 2 don't care. And your goal is to make it so that the 4 people that don't like you somehow maybe turn that page and say, you know what, that was a good call. Or that was a good broadcast. And so I'm always striving. I don't want to cheat the business, and I don't want to cheat myself. I don't want to cheat myself in terms of this is my profession. I've been broadcasting since I was 14. I just want to make sure that I give it a go. I never want to look back, and I'm sure you're the same way. I don't want to look back and say, man, I wish I would have worked a little bit harder to get that game out, preparation-wise. I wish I had given a little more effort during the game, shown a little bit more energy. I never want to look back at that. Now, I can step back and say, I gave it all I had. I may have been a little bit sick or bad travel schedule,
sure,
whatever the case is. But you're always just I'm always trying to one-up the last broadcast. And that's a challenge that I like right now.
14-year-old Kevin Harlan, I'm sure you were in your room and you were doing tapes and things like that.
I was doing games. I turned down the sound on the TV. I did that really when I was about 10 or 11, and then did it all through high school. My parents thought they had a whack job in their hands. The door would be closed, the volume would be down, and here I'd be doing.
The guy is drunk.
Yeah. I've been doing all kinds of games off of TV, and then in my mind, when I was that age, just a little guy, I pretend, all right, we got to go catch our flight. And I pretend that I was going to the airport and getting on a plane and going to my next game.
It's so funny. You have so many iconic calls, but I really hope, and I know the NFL probably won't like me saying this, but I really hope there is someone running on the field in the Super Bowl, because the way you describe it on the radio for Westwood One, whenever a fan enters the field, which you're not supposed to do, as good as it gets.
Well, you're kind to say that. You know, they both happened when the game has been boring and kind of out of hand.
Neil uplift.
So that has added to it a little bit.
Do you guys stage that? If the game is boring, do you guys have like a guy that you go, okay, Ryan McGuire's gonna organize someone to run on the field?
No.
We can help you out there.
Yeah,
if you just want to pay the bail.
Yeah, get the bail. No, I never. I don't write anything down to say. I don't think about if something funny happens, here's what I'm going to say to be cute about it.
Yeah.
You know, there's some guys that do that. I just have not done that. I've tried to do it organically. It works for them, doesn't work for me. I think anything that you've got written out sounds a little staged. It won't sound like it's in the flow of the broadcast. So I don't know that I'll ever do it again. You know, of course, you never say never. But those were unique circumstances.
Yeah, it was fun
when those guys came out, and I think people took it as being fun. Yes.
Yeah, well, you can't please. You know this, especially on social media.
Yeah.
You can't please. You do nothing wrong and people freak out.
I don't go to social media. Vern Lundquist told me one time, he said, one of the biggest disappointments of my career. This is Vern Lundquist talking.
He's like one of the sweetest people, too.
One of the nicest, kindest, sweetest souls you'll ever meet. He said, I went to social media after one of our college games, and I looked up my name.
No.
And I read what people were saying about me. Yes. And it broke my heart. He said, I told myself I'll never do it again. So with that in mind, when he told me that story, I said, I'm not going to look. I'm not even going to get caught up in it. So my wife or my girls will tell me, our daughters will say, hey, there's something being said that you should look at, or this person had something really nice to say and it was a well-known person. But otherwise, I do not go. I really don't care. And I just kind of plow ahead. That social media, man, that is a trap. And if you're in the trap, it's hard to get out of it.
You know what? I'm actually jealous because it's kind of a generational thing, too.
It is, yeah, it is. I mean, you're right. And you're a young guy. And
I grew up in it.
It's tough to ignore because no one loves criticism. Everybody likes some kind of applause or some kind of a attaboy. But
it could break some people, though, man.
Oh, and it has.
Like there's some people in our business where I go, you got to understand, 50% of the people are going to love you, 50% of the people are going to hate you.
So true.
And if the bad tweets aren't coming in, you're actually not doing your job well, because this is what I've always realized. Whenever you leave a job, everyone that said they hated you, that's when they reach out, oh, I really missed you.
Yeah.
It always happens.
Exactly. So you try to navigate it, especially. I just feel like I've got so much on my plate. The last thing I need is to sit there and read what some guy in whatever city America says about me. And then if you ever look on there, as I've done, and he's got like 10 followers, I go, oh, come on. Why am I spending my time and my mental energy sitting and reading what this person is saying? If they like me, they like it. And if they don't, they don't. I did not get in the business for people to like me.
Sure.
I got in the business, as you probably did too, because you love the business.
Yeah.
Not to get a bunch of praise and adulation and plaudits. You get in the business because you love broadcasting, you love being a reporter, you love hosting a show. I love doing games. That's why you got in, but not to get some kind of affirmation from some guy in Nebraska. To say, hey, that really sounded bad or that sounded great. You don't get into
Probably more New York. Nebraska, they're too nice.
New York has got a lot of opinions.
Yeah.
A lot of opinions.
What stands out to you the most with this game from a coverage standpoint, storyline standpoint?
Well, how much the Chiefs are a team. They're so connected. They don't have a lot of Hall of Famers. I don't think pound for pound their roster measures up to the Eagles. But they've always found a way. They got that intangible that all winning teams have. They always find a way. You can't teach it, you can't coach it, you can't practice it. And, Brady had that with the Patriots. Brady didn't play with many Hall of Famers. I look on that Philadelphia side, look at all the terrific, oh my God, their offensive line, second to none. Defensive, at some positions, second to none. The running back, the best in the league. The quarterback on any given Sunday is the best QB in the league. He was the MVP a couple years ago until they lost. So this, to me, is the sternest test the Chiefs have faced yet in any of the previous 5 Super Bowls they've been in.
To me, the Eagles have become America's team because they're the last hope for us to maybe see Kansas City get down. Cowboys fans will like that.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is about the Chiefs is their dynasty is coming right on the heels of the Patriots dynasty.
Back-to-back, crazy.
It's stunning because this should not happen in the salary cap era. This should not happen in the era of parity. We should not be seeing dynasties. And if you look back at the Niners of the 80s and the Cowboys of the 80s and Pittsburgh of the 70s and Green Bay of the 60s and the Browns of the 50s and on and on and on, you saw teams that were loaded with Hall of Famers. I mean, they had like double-digit Hall of Famers. But not now. Brady didn't play with more than just a couple, and Mahomes is the same way.
I know you have to run. Just one last quick question for Kevin Harlan, Westwood One. How did you find out about the Luka trade? Because I was getting ready to come out here. I had an early morning flight. The alert goes out by Shams, and I go, crap, I'm getting no sleep tonight.
I was driving. I had landed at O'Hare, and I got a rental car, and I was driving down to Champaign to do my CBS Ohio State-Illinois game Sunday afternoon. And it's about 11 o'clock at night, and my phone is buzzing. I go, what is I know I look at my phone when I drive. So what is going on? So I pulled off to the side, and I see this thing from Shams, who I do the 2K video game with, and I go, no, I don't know about this.
Fake, right?
Yeah, I thought this is baloney. And then he reiterated it and then gave more details to it. And I go, oh, my God, this is his official account. I don't think he's been hacked. This is his deal. I get all of his notifications because he's so good, just like Woj. And was stunned and literally laid in bed that night just thinking, what does this mean for the Lakers? Oh, they got a baton guy to hand off to now, LeBron to Doncic, and on the most glamorous team in pro basketball. What's this do to the Dallas Mavericks? He took them to the finals last year. He's a 5-time first-team All-NBA player. To trade a guy who's 25, it must have been something pretty significant. We'll find out eventually, but it I'm not saying egregious. I think that's too hard a word. But whether it was conditioning or whether it was the max at 345 that was down the road when this contract's over, whether they just couldn't count on him health-wise, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but man, oh man, this trade just doesn't happen. And for the first time that I can recall, the NBA stole the NFL's thunder, right? They've taken the headlines over the last 3 or 4 days.
Everyone was talking about it.
I know it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I know you got to run, but I just want to say this before we let you run. Obviously, you're one of the best broadcasters of the business, but I don't know if there is a better person in the business.
You are a nice man.
Seriously, what you do for young broadcasters like myself and the nice things that you say, it goes a long way. And anytime someone asks me about Kevin Harlan, because people ask me a lot about you, I go, better person than broadcaster.
Thank you, my friend. So nice to see. I'm so happy for your success. You're in this big time. Oh my gosh, you're flying, baby.
Yeah, I've been fooling enough executives all these years.
No, you are taking off. You are on it. Congratulations on all your success. I'm glad to call you a friend.
Got it.
Glad we're buddies.
Thanks so much.
Good to see you.
He is Kevin Harlan. Zach Gelb here with you, Infinity Sports Network. We'll take a timeout. Pat Surtain II will join us next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, back on Radio Row, Zach Gelb, Coast to Coast on the Infinity Sports Network, and we got the Defensive Player of the Year from the Denver Broncos, and that, of course, is Pat Surtain, the second, joining us right now. What was that like for you last night when you got the announcement?
Yeah, it was an awesome feeling, to be honest. Very surreal. It's something that I had in mind, goals-wise. It's something that I manifested and went after, man. I put in the work for it, and it was instant gratification. Not only that, because I had my whole family in the audience with me, and it was a celebration after. So it was definitely a huge accomplishment.
So I live in New York, and before the season, people said, who's the best defensive back in football? And a lot of New Yorkers weren't happy with me because I said Pat Surtain, and they wanted me to say Sauce Gardner. So to not only have the debate who's the best corner, but now the best defensive player in all the game, that's just, with what you've accomplished so young in your career, and obviously with your football lineage, it's got to kind of be pinch yourself, surreal moments.
Yeah, it definitely is. It didn't happen overnight, I could say. Everything was bought into the process, putting in the work, staying diligent towards my craft, and everything else would follow. So, I stayed the course, stayed myself, and the rest led the way. So, I'm just honestly blessed. Like you said, it feels surreal. It still feels like I'm in a dream in the fog right now, because, when you work for something, it means much more at the end of the day.
So I had Champ Bailey on before the season started and asked about you, and right away, and this is high praise. He said he could accomplish everything I did, I expect him to, and then some. Mm-hmm. When you hear that from Champ Bailey, what does that mean to you?
That's huge, man. Especially the type of caliber of player he is. When you talk about a cerebral player, he's done it for years and years at a high level. It honestly means a lot hearing that from him. I still got a lot more work to do to get to that point, but yeah, definitely. It's always a great feeling when you hear it from the greats.
So with your dad and then your football background, you grew up clearly, with pretty much a football in your hand, I would imagine. But when did you know, hey, this is not just something I like, this is something I could be great at?
I realized it like my sophomore year of high school, when I started getting offers, recognition. My name was getting even more recognized out there in the football world. And I just started getting offers, lining them up, week in and week out. Then I realized I started getting stronger, faster. I was like, okay, I'm built for this. Like, I'm built for this moment. And, I realized that so early on, like in my high school career, but it was something that I had in mind. It's always been a dream of mine and that I worked at. So I definitely felt that once the offers started coming in and I started getting recognition.
Pat Surtain the second here with us, the Defensive Player of the Year. And it still has a good ring to it. I'm sure that's not going to get old. When you look at your season this year on the offensive side of the ball, when you have your quarterback, Bo Nix, when he was drafted 12th overall, I was surprised. I questioned it. He shut me up real quickly, though. Man, Bo is impressive. Not only what he did on the field, but then as the leader, he seems as if he's a 10-year pro already.
Yeah, like I say, he's very like cool, calm, and collected. That's his energy. That's his whole personality, his persona. And I think he shines on the brightest stages, If you look at all the big games, he always shines the brightest. And that's one thing I can say about him, man. He's very confident in his game. And I'm looking forward to his future, man. I know this is not only the start for him, but like he's leading up towards even more and more greatness at the end of the day.
So I thought this was a huge year for Sean. And we all know Sean's a great coach, but with everything that happened in year one with him and Russ, and then it was, okay, what's going to happen in year two to try to win some people back and win some people over? Mm-hmm. Sean, as a coach, what has he kind of done not only for your organization, but also for your career?
He's done a lot. He played a huge part, obviously, towards our team's success. Just establishing confidence, that mantra of swagger that he's brought to the team. It's something that was needed. It was necessary. And, he's done a great job, him, the Penners, and the whole coaching staff, just going on with, we're going to bring this winning culture and we're going to stick with it, stick with the program, stick with the process. And that's what he's been definitely on honing in on, is the winning process, the winning formula, and, the confidence to be able to do that.
So when we look at this Super Bowl, I'll ask you one thing about the game. Everyone's talking offense with Jalen Hurts and Mahomes and Saquon, A.J. Brown, Kelsey. You go on and on and on when we talk about these weapons. But this game's going to be one defensively. And, it could be a high-scoring game. Maybe one of the defenses make it a lower-scoring game. But whoever makes that crucial turnover, and, man, the defensive players in this game, since we always just talk and market offense, there's a bevy of great defensive players, especially young defensive players on both sides.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's going to come down to defense. Defense wins championships at the end of the day. Both teams got great defenses. Both got great defensive coordinators as well, too. So it's definitely going to have to come down to which defense plays the best, towards the end of the game, all 4 quarters, to win the game. Sure.
What's it like going up against Mahomes?
It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. I mean, he's a magician back there. It's like the plays that he makes is like you just got to sit back and, just give applause to because, the throws, the plays, his awareness, the second act, everything that involves great quarterback play he has, all the intangibles. So, I mean, it's definitely frustrating because you think you have them, then at the same time you don't.
Toughest wide receivers, 3. Give me 3 to go up against.
Shoot. Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams.
Jefferson?
Have
you gone up?
I haven't gone against Justin yet, but I'm looking forward to that matchup for sure. It's definitely going to be a battle.
Because to me, he's the best wide receiver in the league. You're the best defensive back, now the best defensive player in the league.
I definitely give him credit for sure, man. He's definitely the best. But the guys I went up against so far, I have to say them 3.
And then who are the 3 best corners in football?
Me.
1, 2, and 3?
No.
Just
me,
1.
Exactly. Me, say Sauce, and Stingley.
Gotcha. So, hey, I know you're doing stuff with Applebee's today. I love Applebee's. As a kid, they had this thing called half-off apps in high school. Everyone would go every Friday night. It was awesome. Tell us what you're doing with the partnership here.
Yeah, so I'm partnering up with Applebee's. Super Bowl Sunday, you get 20 boneless wings with a $40 purchase, Super Bowl Sunday. And you can either use Applebee's.com or the mobile app to your liking. And, you get 20 boneless wings, whatever flavors you want to enjoy on Super Bowl Sunday to watch a great game. So
ranch or blue cheese?
Ranch all day.
You're the defensive player of the year. You're held to a higher standard right now. Enough with the ranch crap. It's blue cheese.
Man, ranch has been my go-to since day one. I'm never leaving. Ranch has been on my side since day one.
It's the one flaw you have. All right. That's the biggest problem with your game. If you don't have a good season next year, the key, blue cheese, you'll win the defensive player of the year back-to-back years.
For sure.
Good to see you. Thanks so much. Congratulations.
Appreciate you.
There he is, Pat Surtain II, joining us on Radio Row. It is Zach Gelb Show. It's time to ask the pros. You, the listener, gets to ask us a question. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Be listening later in the show when we might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Still to come on the show, Will Anderson Jr. is going to stop by, Donovan McNabb as well. But I know we're on in Indianapolis, so when we return in Indianapolis, Colt is going to join us. The last 3 seasons, 167 tackles, 179 tackles, and 173 tackles. The tackling machine, Zaire Franklin, will join us next. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Well, the Chiefs are 1 win away from becoming the first team in NFL history to repeat as champs. Travis Kelce's played a major role during this dynasty and has become a rock star with a girlfriend of greater fame to match. As the sun starts to set on his Hall of Fame career, the 35-year-old said he still has a lot left in the tank.
I really love this game, and I think throughout the year it can get pretty tough, but it's moments like these, the playoffs, these memories that I'll have with the teammates and coaches that I go to war with, and wanting to keep that legacy or keep finding new ways to create those memories.
The Steelers, owned by the Rooney family, will be the first team to play a game in Ireland next year as they'll host an opponent to be determined as the NFL expands its international footprint. The Cavaliers didn't stand pat at the trade deadline. The NBA's best team added DeAndre Hunter and goes for back-to-back wins tonight in Washington, while the Thunder welcome back Chet Holmgren when they host the Raptors after picking up their 40th win. Indiana's Mike Woodson has officially announced he will step down at the end of the season. And a big battle in the Big East tonight, where two-time defending champ UConn hosts conference leader St. John's, which has won 9 in a row. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, like us on Facebook. Our handle is INF Sportsnet. That's INF Sportsnet for our Facebook page. This is the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, welcome back inside the Convention Center Live Radio Row. Zach Gelb here with you on the Infinity Sports Network. I always feel awkward when I have someone's stat sheet up in front of me and they sit down. You know, if it was Wikipedia, then I think it's worse because then I always feel as if the guest is then like, oh, this guy doesn't really know what he's talking about. The reason why I have your stat sheet up here, Zaire Franklin, 167 tackles in 2022, 179 in 2023, and 173 in 2024.
Yeah.
Do you ever miss a tackle?
Too many, according to some, but I guess I get a couple every now and then.
So the trajectory and what happened the last 3 years is when you have really taken off. How do you explain kind of the growth of you as a football player later on in your career with more opportunity?
Yeah, obviously, coming into the league, 7th round, just from, Syracuse and, having to get it the hard way, have to earn my way on the roster, learn how to be valuable to the team, via special teams and, leadership and other things. But I always believed who I could be. I always believed I was not only a starter, but I could be a guy in this league. So even from day one, even when I had no opportunity, I was preparing myself like I was going to be a starter. And I was, training every day that like I was going to go out there and play every play. So when I finally did get my opportunity, nothing much really had to change. I just had to, take advantage of the moment. And, thankfully, being around some coaches that believe me and my guys that have my back, I've been able to have some success.
Was Dinosaur Barbecue your favorite at Syracuse?
I love me some Dino's Barbecue. I actually just went back.
Big ribs.
Nah, I just went back because I just coached a spring game this past
really?
year. Yeah, shout out to Fran Brown.
I know Fran. Year. I went to Temple.
Oh, you went to Temple?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we locked in. I grew up right around North Philly.
Yeah,
so
no,
sure.
I know.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite cheesesteak? I'll get to Fran Brown in just a second.
Oh, well, for sure, Del Sandro's.
Okay, I know the owners.
I tried to, you said where?
I know the owners for Del Sandro's.
Oh, yeah, I did too. I brought the team there when we played the Scrimmage Eagles. What's your cheesesteak spot?
So I love Del Sandro's.
Uh-huh.
My favorite, though, is in Bala Cynwyd, Mama's Cheesesteak. Weird Hours. It's got a 4-cheese blend, though.
Okay.
Absolutely it's like a mystery cheese. I think it's a 4-cheese blend.
Okay, you know ball. There's nothing else to be said. You know ball. Because I got my own little, shout out to Papa Nick's of Islandy. Everybody got their little jank.
And then if you go down the shore, White House Subs.
Yeah.
If you go down to the Atlantic City area, White House Subs is unbelievable. And then
Ishka-Bibbles. I love Ishka-Bibbles.
Oh, Ishka-Bibbles.
I love Ishka-Bibbles.
Deion Dawkins actually took me to Ishka-Bibbles the first time.
Yeah, Ishka-Bibbles is a bop, bro.
And then Bradley Cooper, right, just opened up a cheesesteak spot in New York City.
He's out here, right?
Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm so annoyed.
Is he done?
No, because that cheesesteak truck, they opened up the shop in New York City. It's 3 hours to wait. It's basically Angelo's. They're in cahoots
that's what I heard.
Angelo's. And they have the truck here, and I'm sitting here, and I'm starving. And they have the truck, and there's like 7 people in line.
Yeah, but let me say this. Do you want to come to New Orleans and get a cheese?
No, I don't.
Yeah, that's the only
Thank
thing.
you.
That's the only thing. I don't know if that now. I mean, don't get me wrong. Shout out to Bradley Cooper. I tried to go to Angelo's. I was just in the city 2 weeks ago before the Pro Bowl, and I tried to go to Angelo's, but I don't know why I waited till Sunday, or until Saturday, and it was the day before they played the Commanders. The city was on fire. I pulled up. My wife told me to go at 11. I was being lazy. We pulled up 1 o'clock. The line is down the street. I mean, it's Eagles fans with carry-on luggage straight from the airport, just Angelo's. So I've never actually had Angelo's, but I've heard Angelo's is really good, too.
The thing, though, is, like, come on.
Bread.
Well, hold on. Yes, the bread. You're Zaire Franklin, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but we in the
I know
city,
you don't
though.
like to play that game.
Yeah,
but when it comes to food, you use that as your advantage.
Now, I hope my wife doesn't hear that because she gets mad that I don't throw my name around so much. Every time I call her a restaurant and we don't got a time, she's like, did you tell him who you are? I'm like, oh my God.
I know you don't like to do that, but for
Yeah.
food, you got to kind of do it.
Yeah,
You're in a certain level right now.
Let me see how far my name get me in New Orleans.
You know, if it was Zaire Franklin in 2019, I don't know if it works, but Zaire Franklin in 2025,
Yeah.
you could get a spot at Angelo's, right? They'll take a picture of you.
you might be right.
Eat some cheesesteaks, it will work. You know what?
You might be right.
I may walk up there and say I'm Zaire Franklin
Hey, look,
and see if they believe it.
and I'll co-sign it. Just call me. I'll let them know.
All right, so Fran Brown, what were your impressions of him?
Man, Fran just real, bro. You know, I had met Fran back when he was at Temple back then too. Temple was my first BCS offer. Now back then BCS ain't no such thing as BCS now, but.
It's just called NIL now.
Yeah, facts. But yeah, so I knew that Temple staff really well with Matt Rule back then. Shout out to Matt Rule. But yeah, Fran's been real ever since I met him. Every guy I ever knew who played with him, played for him, from Temple to Baylor, I always sung his praises. Obviously, that was pretty much my most time I really had a chance to spend around him and obviously the program. They had some good guys come out this year too, man. Very successful. I was really happy I had a chance to, just spend some time with that Syracuse team. They were special this year.
Yeah, Fran used to call me. He would call me at like the most ridiculous hour.
Yeah, that's who Fran is.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, you know that one day I'm going to be a head coach.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to be honest. And I don't know how he felt about this. Early on in Fran's career, I thought he was just going to be a position coach or he was going to be a coordinator.
Yeah.
The growth that he really went through when he was at Georgia, that's when I think the vision was really there, learning from Kirby Smart, where it's, okay, I'm really good at what I do. I'm an awesome recruiter. I had the personality. Now I think he learned how to be and get groomed to be a head coach from Kirby.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome to hear, too. I feel like you can see that, though. And I think, shout out to Kirby and Nick Saban and a lot of those guys who do a good job of building that coaching tree. I think it's no secret to, what that SEC coaching tree really does. They do a good job of putting their assistants in positions to succeed and teaching them how to grow and be better moving forward. So
Zaire Franklin here with us. How do you kind of look back at the whole Anthony Richardson thing that happened this year with the bench and then eventually him getting back on the field?
I mean, I'm just one of them type of people that I see opportunity in every, setback or possible negativity. Oh, my God, that's Blue. Blue is crazy.
Oh, the mascot.
Yeah.
See, the funniest thing about him is the mascot Blue when there's like a missed kick.
Yeah, he's crazy.
or they make a kick.
Yeah.
He's going nuts with the goalposts.
Yeah, Blue is
nuts.
crazy. What I would say about Anthony is, man, I just see opportunity, So obviously he had, some situations that he had to go through, he had to learn from. But what I tell him and what I tell all the young guys when they go through bad situations or, tough times, bro, it's just making your story better, bro. The farther you fall or, the most adversity that you go through, that's going to make your greatness stronger. That's going to give you resolve. And how you respond is going to be a great story for when you're a vet or you're looking back and talking to a younger dude and talking them through their adversity. Because the reality situation is just the trial that you're going through at this time, but that doesn't mean it's going to end. Once you succeed and you push through that, you're going to face another opportunity to grow. You're going to face another setback that you're going to have to work through, whether that's winning in the playoffs or, trying to, achieve MVP status, whatever that is. There's always going to be another ceiling to break through. So just use this as an opportunity to continue to grow and show the world who you really are.
What's Shane Steichen like as a head coach?
Oh, man, Shane Sharp, man. I love playing for Shane. He's one of my favorite coaches that I've had. He's all ball. He loves the game, man. He loves the game. Shane was right here. You ain't gonna get him talking to him about Anthony, but if you get him in here and you get to talking about RPOs and how to beat cover 4 and trap 2, and you get him talking about that, he'll sit and talk to you about it for hours. I mean, Shane loves the game, and I love that about him. He understands the guys. He's a competitor. He's super competitive. And I think he's the guy, that's going to help lead us to the promised land.
You look at two situations this year. Lamar Jackson with Derrick Henry.
Right.
And then also Jalen Hurts with Saquon Barkley. Yep. You guys have a great running back.
For sure.
In Jonathan Taylor.
Indeed.
What can you envision that offense being if Anthony's at his best and you still have some prime years left, obviously, of JT?
Man, I mean, it's been beautiful in the glimpses that we've gotten. The Tennessee game, JT runs for 200. Anthony runs for 890. How do you stop that? As a defensive player, when you got a running back that's as dynamic with the vision, the quickness, the burst, the footwork of JT, you have to be very gap conscious. You have to be very, mindful of where he is and where his his leakage could possibly come from. But then when you pair that with a running back who can pull it and also really might take it 70 yards, man, that's a tough thing to stop. So
I think it's as tough as ever now to play defense because there's so many rules that goes against you guys. I have no clue how to hit the quarterback or hit anyone anymore. And now you have these bigger quarterbacks that are mobile, and you have no clue if they're going to throw it, if they're going to hand it off, or if they're going to take it themselves and run downfield as well. How do you kind of get into the position that you're in right now, where all you do is make tackles left and right in an era where it's so hard to just tackle people?
I would just say the reality of the situation is most of these schemes or systems, they're constantly reading you. So they're trying to put people in lose-lose situations. Okay, this guy pulls here, then the quarterback pulls it, but there's also, receiver outlet. So they're just trying to give, multiple fail-safes to try to help, attack defenses and put us in tough situations. My mindset, and obviously it's the mindset of Coach Lou, having a chance to sit and talk some ball with him before I came out here, is to dictate to the offense what you want them to do. So, for example, before you played Lamar Jackson, you would be like, look, whoever the running back is, let him run. You know what I mean? Now you got Derrick Henry, so I don't know if that's actually how you approach that situation. But, just kind of make sure you play with their reads, switch up, what you're going to do. Try to make the quarterback uncomfortable because the moment that he hesitates, that's when you win.
Luana, remind, I know you just touched on it a little bit, but I think that's someone that should have still been in Cincinnati, if I'm just being honest. The Bates, Jesse Bates going from Cincinnati to Atlanta really changed that defense. But, geez, man, you guys got a pretty damn good defensive coordinator coming in.
That's what the guy everybody's saying. Lou's reputation and the respect that he has in the league speaks for itself. I mean, just being at the Pro Bowl last week, all the guys that, played with him in Cincinnati or, competed against him, talked about how special of a coordinator that he was. So I'm just thankful that we have that mind from him. Thankful that I have an opportunity to learn underneath him and continue to grow my game and develop it in ways that I haven't had the opportunity to do before. Using your football cap, and you're rooting for the Eagles, right? It's Philly, man. I ain't got no choice. It's crazy because.
How do you break this game down then?
I think it's gonna be Saquon versus the front seven. I think that's where the game is. If the Eagles can control the clock, but at the same time, Patrick Mahomes, man, he's just been in this situation before. I just feel like when you're facing a generational talent like that that's playing for something bigger, like he's not. Yeah, he's playing for the game, but he's chasing legacy. He's not chasing, the Eagles obviously chasing the first Super Bowl win, and obviously it would be great to have that for the city and for the organization, but Kansas City is chasing something different, man. They're trying to stamp something in history, and, sometimes that's a force that's hard to be reckoned with.
So the last thing I'll ask you, Zaire Franklin, how do you, because the Colts are actually the only team that has never lost to Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Out of all the teams in the league.
Well, we did lose to him in 2018 in the playoffs. With Andrew Luck.
Sorry. Check that.
Yeah.
I said that wrong. It's a long week.
No, you all right.
He is never defeated in the regular season, the Indianapolis Colts. Out of all teams in the league. How do you beat him?
Obviously, with Josh Allen was beating him in the regular season, and that didn't matter. So let me just start by saying that you got to beat him when it counts. But, I just think, we do a good job of competing, and coming out there and giving them, like I said, giving them different looks, giving them different game plans. We've been, had a couple of good defensive performances against them. I know we go to Kansas City next year, so that's going to be fun. I love playing in Kansas City, even though the locker room sucks, but the game environment is awesome. When we played them in 2018, when we had Andrew Luck, that was my rookie year. They was throwing snowballs at us. I always love when fans hate the other team. If I go to another stadium and the fans don't hate me, I feel like y'all not real fans.
Were you throwing snowballs as an Eagle fan as a kid at opposing teams?
Oh, for sure. If I could, I would have definitely snowballed any of the Giants. I would have definitely. That's a part of it. If you don't hate the other team, then how are you really a fan?
Yeah. Well, we appreciate the time. Good luck. All right.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
There he is, Zaire Franklin, joining us on the show. Zach Gelb here with you on the Infinity Sports Network, and the Zach Gelb Show on Super Bowl Radio Row is sponsored by Tide Pods. Turn to cold water washing with the Tide Pods. When you switch from hot to cold, you could save up to $150 a year on your energy bill. Plus, Tide cleans great in cold. All right, we've got a few more minutes here before we got to take our final break of the day. But really do appreciate Zaire Franklin stopping by with us on the show. Still to come, Donovan McNabb is going to join us at the top of the hour. And also in about 30 minutes or so, we'll be joined by Will Anderson Jr., who, once again, his first 2 years in the league, he has been unbelievable with the Houston Texans. And for Donovan, there's going to be a lot of Eagles chatter. Going to be a lot of Kansas City Chiefs chatter. Also, we'll get into Eli Manning with the Hall of Fame with Donovan McNabb. And in addition to that, you got these NFL awards. And the NFL awards came out last night. I'm not big on the whole award show, if I'm just being honest. But I will say I thought the three most interesting ones, where I have a minute here to kind of catch my breath, so I'll just give you those awards. Head Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell. You get into the Comeback Player of the Year in Joe Burrow, and then also Josh Allen for MVP. So I'll give you a thought on each of them. I kind of thought for Coach of the Year this year, Kevin O'Connell is more than deserving to win the award. And if you would have told me before the season the Vikings would have been a playoff team, I could see it. I wouldn't say I expected it, but I could see it. Where Sam Darnold was at that level, I think in the regular season, because remember, it's a regular season award, that's why he won the award. But if I was voting, I don't have a vote, but if I was voting, I would have put DQ. Dan Quinn won. The Washington Commanders, and I know you associate them more with Jaden Daniels, but they had to really go through an entire culture shift. And I know an enormous part was that Dan Snyder was out, but I thought Dan Quinn was the best coach in football this year, but I'm not irate about Kevin O'Connell. Comeback Player of the Year, I think we should just get rid of it. You know, Joe Flacco winning last year, when he came on this show, remember, and he said, what did I come back from? Getting off the couch? How DeMar Hamlin didn't win that award when he almost died is something I just will never get. And this year, see, if I would have told you Kevin O'Connell would have won Coach of the Year and Sam Darnold wouldn't have won Comeback Player of the Year, it just doesn't make sense. So how Sam Darnold didn't win the award makes no sense to me. And I get it. Joe Burrow, if his team would have made the playoffs, I kind of think he would have been the MVP of the league. But how Joe Burrow wins Comeback Player of the Year, and obviously the passing yards, the passing touchdowns, those numbers are unbelievable. But he already won the award once. Now you can win it twice. It's happened. But I thought the Comeback Player of the Year should have been to Sam Darnold. And then MVP, I have no problem with Josh Allen. And here's why. He did more with less. Yes, Lamar Jackson's stats were unbelievable. Lamar Jackson's stats were better than Josh Allen. But he also had Derrick Henry with him. Not taking anything away from him. And I love Lamar. But it's the most valuable player. And I thought that Josh Allen should have won it. And he did win it. All right, coming on back.
You're in
All right, welcome back inside the New Orleans.
Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
All righty, welcome back inside the New Orleans Convention Center. Zach Gelb here with you. It's Friday at Radio Row, and I feel like this is a tradition each and every year where we're talking about now Andy Reid in a big game, so we welcome on one of our favorites in Donovan McNabb. Number 5, how you been?
Man, I'm doing outstanding. How's everything? I mean, Media Row gets a little busy. Friday, it looks like it's dying down a little bit. It looks like everybody's trying to get up out of here, so I'm just happy to be a part of it.
I think a big conversation in this game is Jalen Hurts. And I think a lot of people go, oh, this is a game where he could earn a lot of people's respect. I don't understand the constant bashing. And I know this annoys you. That's why I'm asking it to you. I don't get this conversation with Hurts. All the guy does is win.
And it really just kind of confuses me every now and then. But people have their own opinions and they want to talk or they want to, gripe about different things. But I look at it in the sense the guy's doing what it takes to win the football game. Yeah, is it great numbers if it's 400 yards passing, throwing 50 passes a game? No, that's not what they need from him. They need him to be, efficient. They run the football. They play great defense, and they win by scoring 24 points. Like, is it great? No, it's not great, but it's efficient and it helps right now. And so, what do they need to do in the Super Bowl? And that's protect the football. That's move the chains, eat up clock, be balanced in their play calling, and at the end of it, again, win the game.
And here's the funny part, because I'm talking to you in Philadelphia. You didn't always have a bevy of weapons, and people would usually hold that against you. And now Jalen Hurts has too many weapons. It's almost as if you just can't win as a quarterback.
You never have too many. You never have too many weapons. Now, when you do have an array of, weaponry, so to speak, someone's going to take a hit. Someone's not going to get the ball as much. Somebody's going to be, her opportunities in a game is not going to be there, and then all of a sudden it becomes a conversation, and then they say something that triggers everybody. Oh, well, there's beef, and they don't like each other. It's always something. But I think in a situation that's comparable to mine and them, I didn't have the AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, the Dallas Goedert, the Saquon Barkley. Like, the guys that we had were very effective with what they were asked to do. And we won. So they're doing the same thing that we were doing, just with a little bit more selection.
Talking to Donovan McNabb right now. So Andy Reid, right? Beloved in Philadelphia.
Right.
And now he has 3 Super Bowls. And also Andy Reid has beat the Eagles once in the big game.
Right.
If he does that twice now, do you think the way that people view Andy in Philly, if they beat the Eagles twice, is going to change?
Meaning in a negative way?
In terms of, right, you would agree that everyone loves Andy Reid for the most part now in Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
I just wonder if he does it out of the Eagles twice, it's like, man, we love our ex. It was an amicable divorce, but eventually you don't want to see them dating someone that's better than you,
Yeah, but I mean, the respect for Andy is sky high. And the funny thing is, yes, he's the Kansas City Chiefs coach, but he's one of ours. And he got his start in Philadelphia, and he's the all-time winningest coach in Philadelphia. So I don't think that anything would turn negative if he wins this game against the Philadelphia Eagles. People truly love Andy, and they should, because he's the one that kickstarted this whole winning vibe and winning energy
culture
in Philadelphia. He's the one that got that going. And so it was a decade since 99 that got us back to relevancy, and everybody's riding the wave.
Were you surprised that Eli Manning didn't make the Hall of Fame last night?
Yes and no. Yes, because he's a Manning. He does have 2 Super Bowls, and then, they like to always talk about, how many Super Bowls does he have, or how many championships has he won? How many times has he been All-Pro? He's put up a run, 2 runs that, people can look at and say it's historic. So I'm surprised in that aspect. I'm not surprised because you look at his numbers aren't great. Like, yes, he's like an Iron Man. He played for so long, didn't miss games or whatever it may be. But his numbers aren't that great,
Do you think you were a better quarterback than Eli?
Yes.
So what would you say to voters? Because you haven't really ever got a Hall of Fame push.
What do I say to voters? Vote me in. It's just and that's the thing is, the conversation is always, how many times was he All-Pro? How many times did he win the Super Bowl? Or how many times did he play in the Super Bowl? There are a lot of people who never played a playoff game. There are a lot of people who never been to conference championships. Never people made Super Bowls. But again, they're very selective in what they ask for certain people. And, it's one that you just can't control, and you just sit back and wait. I'm happy that Eric Allen got an opportunity to get in. It was a long time coming, and, I'm happy for him. Sterling as well. Sterling's a guy, when I first retired, that was me and him worked together at NFL Network. And, he's a great guy. Jared Allen, a guy I played with in Minnesota. So happy for him. getting in. So it's exciting for me because I've got ties to guys always getting in, and I'm just chilling.
Yeah. and we know you know how to chill well.
I'm just chilling.
Is Mahomes the greatest quarterback, the most talented quarterback you've ever seen?
Most talented? No.
Who is?
Is he? Randall, Warren. You know, I've seen great quarterbacks play. You know, Aaron. I've seen Tom, Peyton. I've seen him. But does that mean that he can't be? Yes, that doesn't mean it. But I will say this: I can't call him the greatest quarterback of all time until he can get 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 years under his belt. Because this is a run early, and he's only been in the league 8 years. You know, it's hard to say he's the greatest of all time. Now, he would do great things winning again to help his cause, but it's kind of early right now.
Is it at all tough for you to watch the Chiefs just because of how synonymous you were with Andy, and now seeing that
it's not tough
that they have?
Believe me, it's not tough. They're fun to watch. They're fun to watch, and you know, I just love the evolution of where Andy's offense is. You know, because you've never really heard the term in the last 5 to 7 years, West Coast offense, have you?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the evolution of Andy's offense, remember, it started with the West Coast offense, and now it's almost like arena league offense. Like the way motions and movement and everything that they're doing
It's
now.
a different version.
It's crazy.
What they did at the Super Bowl, and you had the two guys, one going that way, and both were open. It was wild.
But that's what I'm saying. It's the evolution of where the game is.
I don't even know what to call it, honestly.
Seriously. Like, I mean, and it's almost like everybody's running.
I call it
an extended version of what we seen the greatest show on turf with Mike McCarthy.
Mike Martz.
Mike Martz. It's an extension of that now because you know what he was doing with all those guys. It was like motions, movement, you know, shifts and everything. It's like, oh, okay, now everybody's doing it. So it's interesting to watch.
Last thing I'll ask you. If Andy keeps, I'm assuming he could coach for like 3 to 5 more years. If he wins a few more Super Bowls, could he go down as the greatest coach of all time over Belichick?
Yes.
Why so?
Because if he goes another, let's say 3 to 5 years, he wins 2 more Super Bowls. So that would mean
that put him at 5. Bill has 6.
But that would mean in this era, and you got to look at numbers wise. For the years of what Patrick has been in the league. At that time, you're talking 11 years, 11, 12 years of being in the league. Drastic numbers from his quarterback. Going to win 2 more Super Bowls. I mean, whatever happens in this game. In that period of time, he will go down as the greatest coach of all time.
Who wins this game?
I think the Eagles win by 3. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I think Saquon will get close to 100. I think he'll have the rushes. I think the yards are kind of going to be the ones that he's going to continue to pound and get. But I just think it's going to come down to 2 defensive plays.
Yeah.
2 defensive plays that change the game. If it's a forced fumble, if it's an interception that runs down to the 5 or whatever, or pick 6, it's going to be something to that effect that's going to change the game.
The last thing I'll ask you, Donovan McNabb, just, you know, obviously when T.O. came back for that Super Bowl, and I'm not comparing it directly to what Brandon Graham is doing, but how much of an emotional lift does that just provide to the team when you get a guy like Brandon Graham coming on back and this potentially being his last game?
I don't know. Because his defense has been playing great.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't say in his absence.
Carter, Nolan Smith.
Yeah, they've been playing great. Where
Vaughn's been a stud.
Where I think for the Philadelphia Eagles, now they know what they have in Nolan. Now they know what they have in their, really, I mean, to be honest with you, they know what they have now in their whole Georgia front. Like, the question with Davis was he ever in shape, or will he be the force to stop the run? Like, he's now getting pressure up the middle in the passing game, like, you know, with their depth now. So I just think with where they are right now with Brandon, it's just another added dimension that they can utilize. I don't think he'll be out there for 40 plays. I think he'll be more of a 15 play passing situation guy come off, and he could change the course of the game. He could.
Always good to see you, number 5.
Always.
We appreciate it.
Gotta love it, baby.
There you go, Donovan McNabb joining us on Radio Row. It is the Zach Gelb Show from New Orleans. We've got about 50 minutes left in the extravaganza on our final Football Friday in this season. And it's football season, and Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you are craving, Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Make sure you order now. All righty, still to come on the show, we got one more guest for you, and that's going to be Will Anderson Jr. of the Houston Texans. Good stuff right there a few moments ago with number 5 in Donovan McNabb. And from his perspective, I thought the 3 things that really stood out to me there. The Eli Manning conversation with the Hall of Fame. I don't think it's crazy. I'm not incredulous that Eli Manning didn't get in on his first try. Will he eventually get in? Absolutely. I don't love this. You're either a first ballot or you're not. Like, to me, you're either Hall of Famer or you're not. But sometimes you got to make the case. And Eli's numbers for a first ballot Hall of Famer are not usually what you would anticipate. And that's why I don't think he got in. And if Eli didn't win a Super Bowl, I don't know if he gets in. Because you look at Phillip Rivers, you know, I think Phillip Rivers will eventually get in, but it's going to take him a long time. Eli will get in, I would say, within 3 years. And this was number 1. Didn't happen. I think either 2 or 3, he'll get in as you look at the Super Bowls, winning 2, and the Super Bowl MVPs. Now, he'll be a Hall of Famer. But like McNabb, I thought the way that he said, now he thinks he's better than Eli. That's his opinion. But in terms of the last name being Manning, and also when you look at the regular season not being ever, viewed as an elite quarterback, that's not usually what you see at a first ballot Hall of Famer. So I'm not going nuts over Eli Manning not getting in. The Jalen Hurts conversation, it's so funny talking to Donovan McNabb, because when Donovan McNabb played for the Eagles, he never really had great weapons. Sure, Brian Westbrook was good. Terrell Owens was the one exception, but they ended up killing it one another. But for the most part, those weapons weren't satisfactory in Philadelphia. And people still got on Donovan for not winning the big game. But now it's Jalen Hurts, he has too many weapons. And then the Andy Reid conversation, that's why I brought it up to him, because I'm just fascinated by it. And I think I'm in the minority here, because I think Philadelphia Eagles fans will always love Andy Reid. But in terms of if they beat the Eagles twice in the big game, what is being said in Philly about Andy Reid? Because Andy Reid is a beloved Eagles coach. Now, Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni has a chance. We haven't really talked about Nick this week. We all talk about, too, the moment for Jalen Hurts to get that respect. How about Sirianni? If Sirianni gets the job done here, he's been to 2 Super Bowls. You start talking about who's the greatest Eagles coach of all time. In terms of wins, it's Andy. But Doug won a Super Bowl. And if you look at Nick, what he's been able to do since coming in, wild card round, Super Bowl appearance, you lose last year after the 10-1 start, which was just terrible. And now you're in a Super Bowl. He wins the Super Bowl championship for a guy that we all thought was not a good hire. Whew. It's tough to really beat those 4 years when you look at it. If you just don't do it in the Andy Reid scale and what Andy's done in Kansas City. But I wonder if Philadelphia starts to turn against Andy just a little bit. But when you lose 2 Super Bowls, they do lose 2 Super Bowls. So it's just something that crossed my mind in terms of the human emotion of it. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come on back. We still got predictions to get to. We'll do that at 5:40 p.m. Eastern time. We'll get a prediction from Stu. We'll get a prediction from Samter. We will get a prediction from Nico Kudovitis, Iamaliava Scarlatos, who is back in our New York City headquarters. And you also get a prediction from me live on Radio Row. But when we return from the Houston Texans, Will Anderson Jr. will join us. Back with more after these short messages.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, welcome back inside. and you could have all the gumbo, the crawfish, the jambalaya, all this stuff. It's alligator. It's crazy. But the key to my heart is really just peanut butter. And Will Anderson from the Houston Texans is here on behalf of Jif. Will, appreciate it. How you been?
I've been good. Thank you for having me.
You know, when you go through all this food, this entire week in New Orleans, man, like you used to drink and you get hungover. Now it's just the food. The next day you wake up and I just feel gross this week. And just to get something simple like some Jif, it's just very, very nice.
It is. It's great. It's so crazy because growing up, this is all I used to eat. My coach is like, you got to put this in your shakes. You got to get bigger. So to have a partnership with them is special. It's just crazy because they was telling me a stat that over 1 billion people eat wings on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And so I'm partnering up with Jif to save the celery. So we're gonna get some celery and some peanut butter on the Super Bowl and make some people eat some of this stuff.
And you're also saving people from a lot of bad takes when it comes to wings because I feel like you're a ranch guy.
I am, but
see, bad take.
But when it comes down to it, I'm really a blue cheese guy.
Good, you should be. Ranch.
I love blue cheese.
Be a blue cheese guy.
I am.
And if you're gonna have ranch with your wings, you better eat Jif instead because you're wasting your time eating the wings. So for you guys this season, it ended up against Kansas City, and everyone's having a problem beating them. We'll see if it will change for the Eagles. I don't think you guys lost the game because of the officiating, to be clear. But and I'm sure you feel this way as well. I have no clue how to hit the quarterback anymore.
Yeah, man. It's it's just something that you have to take into consideration when you're practicing it all weekend. Just making sure that you're hitting them right and being disciplined. And we knew what it was going into the game. Just as far as what was the statement after the game was just basically saying, we know, if you do something outside the rules, it's going to get called. And we have to be disciplined enough and be sound enough and be detailed enough to not put ourselves in those positions for those calls to happen. And, we owned up to that after the game. People want to, do the clickbait stuff like that, but it wasn't on the officiating. You know what I'm saying? We have to lock in. We have to be more mentally sound. We made some errors out there. We made some mistakes that cost them, big explosives that they got towards the end of the game, and we can't have that. You know what I'm saying? So going into this offseason, that's one thing doing OTAs that we really want to focus on, especially just being a captain and being a leader on the team. How mentally sound can we be locked in on these big time games?
But here's the thing: what you did in that game, I would not have called it a penalty. I don't think it's a penalty.
Yeah.
But I see it so often now get called that it's almost normalized. I was more annoyed when Pat was running and you had the two defenders crash down and hit each other.
Yeah.
Not even him.
Yeah.
Flag in the air. Stupid.
Yeah, I think it's just, a little adversity. You know what I'm saying? Control what you can control, man. And like I said, even after that, how are we going back out there and tackling after the penalty? Coach always saying it doesn't matter where they line the ball up at. We just have to go out there and play. And those are the areas that I feel like we should get sharper on as a team, that I want to take the next step as just being a leader. It doesn't matter how we go on the field. It doesn't matter what call we get. How are we going to continue to be locked in and play ball?
How do you look back at this season? Because people thought when coming down to taking the next step, people thought you guys could go from divisional round last year to this year maybe being a dark horse Super Bowl contender. And unfortunately, you guys, didn't get out of the divisional round.
Yeah, it's a process, man. You know what I'm saying? We're a young team. We're still learning. We're just getting more experienced guys in the building, man, to just help some of these younger guys, understand the mindset of getting, past that round. You know what I'm saying? And we have to enjoy that process. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get there. I'm confident that we're going to get there, man, but we just got to keep doing the little things right. We got to keep trusting each other, keep building the team chemistry, keep building the culture there. I think we have everybody in the right place, right coaching staff, right players in the building, nutrition, athletic trainers, all that good stuff upstairs. The management upstairs is great. So like I said, it's a process. We just have to keep building on that process and enjoying our process, and the results are going to be nice.
So I said this to you when you were a rookie. You don't sound like a rookie, and now obviously you just wrapped up your second season, which is already crazy how quickly it goes by, but still, there has to be a little bit of an awe factor and obviously a respect factor when you guys get a veteran and someone so accomplished like Danielle Hunter. Yeah. What were you guys, because I'm sure you challenged one another, right? Healthy competition, all that stuff, same side of the ball, and obviously the same team. But what did he really teach you this year?
Man, he taught me so much this year, man. And it's really just when it just come to mindset. You know what I'm saying? He has this cool, calm, and collective mindset about himself, and it rubbed off on me so much because sometimes I can just be a little anxious about things and want to be like, I want it right now, I want it right now. He's like, man, you just got to keep chopping. You just got to keep going. It's going to come. So from that aspect off the field, that's something he taught me. And then just on the field with pass rush, just more play chess with them, like switch it up. Like now you're gonna have them thinking, like you can go speed to power, you can take an inside move, get him to move his feet. So like just learning different things about tackles and making them play your game, not playing their game. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I could take from Daniil that he really does a really good job of, like really homing in on how he's gonna rush people and how he's gonna get to the quarterback.
CJ Stroud is what as a quarterback, Will Anderson Jr.?
The greatest. He's
really
the greatest.
The greatest.
The greatest. I have we have all the faith in CJ. I have all the faith in CJ, man. He's a young guy, and look what he's doing. He's helped turn his program around tremendously. And, with all the expectation and he should be this, he should be that, man, he's right where he needs to be. And we're going to continue to be behind him. He's going to continue to grow. He's going to continue to be a captain and lead this team. And we're going to do special stuff. And I can't wait to see him continue to do what he does best.
The culture of the Texans, and this obviously predates you, but it was in a terrible spot. As a franchise, right, they were ones that we'd be talking about and kind of laughing at them. And to see what you, CJ, and then D'Amico, and also you got to give credit in the building process to your GM as well, what you guys have been able to do, that group of four really being the main faces of it. CJ, the best offensive player, you, the face of the defense, and then with Nick and also D'Amico has been really impressive. Now it feels as if it's such a great environment. You were around Saban, right?
Yeah.
He was your coach at Alabama. That was the standard.
Most definitely.
Speak to what the standard is and kind of the culture is now in the Texans locker room, since you only know it in a good spot the last 2 years.
Yeah, I have to give all credit to D'Amico. Of course, Nick, for bringing the guys in. But, D'Amico set a foundation when he got there of what he wanted the Texans to be about and what he wanted his team to be about. And you have to have that in order to, achieve and be an excellent team. And his standard was like, we're going to have a swarm mentality. Like, our brand of football is physical. Our brand of football is swarm, relentless, dominate, execution, all those things. And so that's the thing that we fall back on when things are not going our way. Who are we when things are not going our way? And we're a swarm team. And I think once he got that culture input and start finding the guys to surround that culture and adapt the culture, you know what I'm saying? That's when it really took off. So I feel like D'Amico, he really knows how to be a good coach, but he also knows how to get the best out of his players.
I still think someone like Bill Belichick can be a great coach in this league, but you see now a new mold of coach where it's very successful, former player that could be a player's coach, but the good ones aren't a doormat. And obviously D'Amico Ryans would be the farthest thing from a doormat, but having someone that is really not that far removed from playing and that understands his players and maybe understands when someone needs a day off or they don't need to go so hard at practice, things like that. What does that do with him really leading the way?
It does everything for us. And I think that's why it's so easy to play for him. And I think that's why guys love playing for him, because he approaches us in a sense of like how he played, like a team captain almost, in a sense. And that energy that he brings, that contagious energy, like that fired up energy, is like he's going to go out there and go to war with us. You know what I'm saying? And I think guys feed off of that a lot, and we cherish that because, not a lot of coaches do that. And so for him to be like really hands-on with us, he'll talk some smack here and there. You know what I'm saying? He'll walk around, see what's going on. He come in the D-line room, bring some juice in there. We already be juiced up, but he'll just try to see what the temperature like and like stuff like that. Like that means a lot when you see a coach who's actually want to be involved in what the players are doing, you know what I'm saying, within the building. So, I think I honestly think like that's what separates him from a lot of coaches, just having that player like mindset and know how I know my players, how to get to my players and get the best out of my players.
We're now a full year out with Nick Saban no longer coaching. Do you believe he's actually done? Here's my take. I never think he's going to go back to coaching college. If he was to return, I think it would be the NFL, but I still think he's going to enjoy talking it up on ESPN.
I think he's going to enjoy talking it up on ESPN. I think I don't know. You never know with him. You never know. He loves it so much, and he's such a genius coach that he knows so much about ball, but you just never know with him. He always has a trick up his sleeve.
What about Kalen DeBoer? What do you think Alabama has in their new head football coach?
I think they have a very smart, young head coach, man. I think he's going to do a really good job, continue to do a really good job. He's in a perfect scenario, great friends, great atmosphere, great place, great people down there. And I can't wait to keep them see what they keep doing and keep rolling.
I thought one of the feel-good stories this year of the NFL was Bryce Young, because Bryce, year one was a disaster. And then early on in year two, he got benched, and I go, that career is over just with that team, and he'll go somewhere else, and we'll see if he could have success. The way that he found success this year, I know you and Bryce are oh so close, but man, I know you're focused on your own stuff, but that had to be fun to watch.
That's my dog, man. Like I tell people like all the time, like it's no surprise for me. Like Bryce is one of the most calm, chill, like guys I've known when it just come to, like, of course, off the field, but on the field, like, his confidence is so big, nothing shakes him. You know what I'm saying? So, like, all that stuff that he had to endure, he was built for it. He knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? So he knew the type of player that he is. And to see him continue to go out and rock and be him and be that leader and lead that offense and lead that team, he's going to do such amazing things in his career, and I can't wait to keep seeing him ball.
Will Anderson Jr. here with us. So when you guys played the Chiefs, I thought at halftime, with the way that you guys played, the score should have been different. Unfortunately, your offense just either didn't have it that day, or the Chiefs defense is also really damn good. It's probably a mixture of both.
Yeah.
When you look at the Eagles, I think they could do a lot of things similarly to what your defense did up against the Chiefs, and they obviously have the offense. How do you kind of look at this game?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, I was doing another interview the other day, and I was telling them, like, when I watch big games like this, or I watch games in general, I don't watch the whole game. I literally just watch up front.
Yeah.
I watch the trenches, D-line and O-line, and I think it's going to be a really great game up front. I know all those guys on Georgia. Watched them when they was at Georgia.
Jalen
Carter, Nolan Smith, all those guys, and they gelled really well together and played really well on that level and this level. And it's going to be they're a physical front. They knock people back. They get off blocks. They can get to the quarterback. They'll cause havoc in the run game. So I'm really excited to see that matchup up front.
Now, I don't think you fear anybody. You have a lot of confidence, and you do so in a humble way. But when you're going up against Mahomes, does he just keep you up late at night when you prepare for him? Because, you know, even if you do have the lead, no lead is safe up against him.
Yeah, I think it's the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what you're going into. I have a ton of respect for Pat. He's a great player, one of the greatest to do it. He's continued to find a way to win, and that's what you have to do in this league, and that's what makes him so special. And, you know, I approach every game the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, I stay up late all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just that passionate about it. And, you know what I'm saying? I wish him all the best and everything that he does, and it's going to be some good battles here to come.
Who are the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, in your opinion?
Top 5 quarterbacks. They're all great quarterbacks in this league, man. They're all great.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Offensive linemen. You don't have to give me top. Who are some offensive linemen so far in this league that really stand out to you?
Penei Sewell from
yeah,
he's
Detroit.
really good. Zach Tom from Green Bay, he's really good. Of course, LT. You go against the best every day. Laramie Tunsil. What's the dude from the Vikings?
Darisaw?
Yeah. He's really good. I like him. I like going against him. It was a good challenge.
You could probably get some good smack talk.
Yeah, he's good. He was quiet, but he's a good player. Those are some of the guys that, you know, I respect. I mean, I respect all the guys, but those are some of the guys I have respect.
So last thing I'll ask you, obviously, Will Anderson Jr. here on behalf of Jeff. When you look at the Texans, for people saying, all right, maybe they're just good, they're not great. Why can you guys become a great team?
Yeah, I really feel like it has nothing to do with anybody else. It's all about our expectation. Our expectation is going to be higher in the building than anybody else's expectation. Man, so we just have to keep doing us and doing us better. It doesn't matter who thinks we're great or not. We know who we are. We know who the guys we have in the locker room. I think we're a special group, and we just have to continue to gel together and be a really great team.
Always a pleasure to talk to you. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
There he is, Will Anderson Jr. joining us on Radio Row, and that's the last guest for what's been a crazy week of shows, and obviously all the great guests that we did get here in New Orleans. I'll tell you, you know, let me ask you this, Samter. Highlight of the week, in your opinion. Guest of the week. Who was it?
Are we talking about the best guest or the highlight of the week?
You can do whatever you want in terms of answering that question.
The easy answer would be Mr. Warren Sapp because of what he did and how he acted.
Me and you have a handshake.
But because he was such a jerk.
Big fella didn't get enough beignets.
Because he was such a jerk to me before the interview and he was a jerk to you for walking out of the interview, I don't want to give Mr. Sapp the benefit of being the winner.
See, I love what Warren Sapp did.
No.
It made me look great.
Yes. But it was disrespectful, and he was disrespectful to me before the interview, so therefore he doesn't deserve it. For me, I think the highlight was Myles Garrett.
That was pretty cool.
You know, him making the biggest news in the NFL outside of obviously Luka getting traded. The biggest news in the NFL was Myles Garrett, and for him to come on the Row and talk about it, and deal with it and talk about it and be in front of it. He was very honest with all of his answers. He didn't hold back. He didn't shy away. I thought that was awesome.
Okay. I have 5 moments here. You know what? I'm going to give an honorable shout out to Emmitt Smith. Doing tequila shots with him was very fun. But in at number 5, I am going to go with Damar Hamlin and Teddy Bruschi. But Damar Hamlin sharing with us, he said it was the first time that he shared it, which was the first time he knew that he was going to come back and play football. I thought that was pretty cool. 4, Kayvon Thibodeau. Whenever you're a player and you sit down and you just say, F the Cowboys, and he said it the way that I can't say it on the radio without having Nico run around and have to dump something. There's always that like nervous laugh and I had it where it was just so funny that he said it because I'm like, oh, you can't say that on the radio, but it's fine for the social media. But then our listening audience on the radio just doesn't hear about like 7 or 8 seconds of the show, so that's fine. But that was a very good moment. 3, there was a real buzz when Paige Spiranek joined us.
How did I forget that?
A real buzz.
Can I change my answer?
And also, there were people that we work with that I'm like, where have you been all week? That just popped out of the woodworks to join us when Paige Spiranek was on the show.
I will say this: the stream loved her too.
Yes. No doubt about that. 2, Myles Garrett. I was talking to someone else from another network today, and they asked me at the Myles Garrett interview, and they go, did you go into that knowing you were going to ask him what his favorite wing sauce was, like or blue cheese or ranch? And I go, no. I go, that's what I just always do. I didn't prep really. Oh, let me ask Myles Garrett. I gotcha. We were just talking about what he's doing Super Bowl food spread wise, and I ended up asking blue cheese or ranch, and then basically throwing out that he's going to be a Buffalo Bill. But the crowd that was around us when we asked him about the Eagles too, and how we didn't even end the conversation, and that was already all over the internet, was pretty cool. And the number 1 was Warren Sapp. And I will get my high five one day from Warren Sapp, who took his football and he ran away and he cried like a little baby. Warren Sapp, where? Warren, where? Like, give me a break. Over the dumbest thing too, Abdul Carter. Me praising Abdul Carter. Now, one of these sites that are right up, supposedly Micah and Warren have beef where Warren just doesn't like Micah. I think for something after the Green Bay playoff game, he went after him or something like that. But Warren Sapp, Micah Parsons, I said first off, he has like 15 sacks a year. And a guy gets 12, 13, 14 sacks a year. He's 52.5 sacks over 4 years. So this idea that Warren Sapp wanted to cry like a little baby and storm off the set, probably go stuff his face with a beignet, give me a break. Give me a break. What a joke. But, hey, for some reason, that's now 3 people that have done that to us.
What's the better, pettier beef?
No, stop.
Warren Sapp.
Or Devo?
No. Oh. Warren Sapp against Micah or Micah against TJ Watt?
Oh.
The pettier pass rushing beef.
So Micah was weird about it, I thought, because he just won't say he's a top 5 pure pass rusher, and then it's just verbal diarrhea when he tries to explain it, like complete verbal diarrhea.
At least this year he gave some other answer, though. He put Daniel Hunter in there. He put Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah,
those 2 guys weren't there.
He struggled to get to 5.
Yeah.
But also, he then would go on to say, yeah, he's one of the 5 best defensive players in the league. Like, sometimes, and Mike is going to learn this, you're just going to take some L's in this business. And that's your L moment. Just take it. And it's definitely personal. The Warren Sapp, though, just hating on, you know what? Yeah, that's more petty. Because at least Micah said something nice about him eventually, even though the top 5 claim is crazy.
It took him a year. You would 6 million views later.
You would think Micah Parsons was Vernon Golston if you asked Warren Sapp. Vernon Golston.
Why you got to bring up Vernon Golston? How about Mike Mamula? Let's go that way.
No, because Vernon Golston was like the first guy that I really wanted the Patriots to draft, and thankfully the Jets took him before.
You're welcome.
Yes.
You're welcome.
So those are some highlights from the week. All righty, well, come on back. I got to text Hickey for his prediction. I'll get Stu's prediction as well, because Stu has been doing some great stuff for us behind the scenes, so he's not in front of a microphone right now. We'll get Nico's prediction on the Super Bowl, Santos as well, and mine. Coming on back. Oh, wait, is Ack there? Do we have Ack before I get the update? Ack, what's your Super Bowl prediction? What are you going with?
I'm going with the Eagles. I'm going to say by 4.
Okay, Eagles by 4. You want to give me a score real quickly?
Let's go 31-27.
Okay, 31-27. I'm writing it down for Rich Ackerman. We'll come on back with our Super Bowl picks. Update time. Here is Ack.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Well, 2 days until Super Bowl Sunday, and a season-long theme in the NFL has been the Chiefs' quest for a three-peat. But after losing to KC in the big game 2 years ago, Jalen Hurts said this is a much different Philadelphia team.
For us, we've got a ton of different players on our team. We've got a lot of young players starring and playing pivotal roles and everything. And so you just have to navigate that and find your way as a team for that year. And so we've been able to play disciplined ball. We've been able to play ball and be on the same page and find ways to win.
The NFL is expanding its European reach to Ireland next year, with the Steelers to be the host team for a game against an opponent to be determined. The Cavaliers have the most wins in the NBA and go for their 42nd tonight in Washington after picking up DeAndre Hunter from the Hawks at the trade deadline. The Thunder, the best in the West, have won their last three and host the Raptors, and welcome back Chet Holmgren to the lineup after he missed time with a hip injury. Indiana's Mike Woodson makes it official. He will step down as the Hoosiers coach at the end of the season. In the top 25, 7th-ranked Purdue hosts USC, and number 12, St. John's, goes for its 10th straight win against two-time defending champ and 19th-ranked UConn tonight in Stores. I'm Rich Ecker.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. From the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh my God, we're back
So real
again.
quickly, I was just reading something before we get to our Super Bowl picks. Jay Glazer believes that Russell Wilson will not be back with the Steelers. And then Diana Rossini was on with Colin Cowherd and basically said the same thing. So I guess the Steelers, you go Justin Fields, or are they going to try to move up in the draft? Because I think only Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward would be worth the first-round pick. But after that, is there someone later? You're really going to do that again? Probably not. That makes no sense to me. You know, the Steelers are just so stuck. And I guess I'd rather have Fields than Russell Wilson, but I'm going to say that Russ ends up going to the Raiders. So that's that. By the way, it's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You can submit a question by tweeting at INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts, where your car care needs get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. All right, let's get to some Super Bowl predictions. Ack goes 31-27. Stu is back in the shop, so his microphone's not working right now. He takes the Chiefs. Stu takes the Chiefs. 27-21. Nico, what's your Super Bowl pick?
Well, unlike Stu, I don't think I could take my bias out of it, so I am also going to go the Chiefs. And how about a little scoregami? Give me 32-22 Kansas City.
32-22 Kansas City. I didn't get the point about the bias part with you.
Well, Stu was picking the Chiefs, which is to go, he's taking the bias out of it.
Oh, okay.
As a Giants fan, I am not taking the bias out of it.
Oh, because you just hate the Eagles?
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, so go beat someone, all right? Be like a relevant team again. Enough from the I love Giant fans. My dad's a Giant fan, but enough with the Giant fans. You know, basically like pretending to be some victim here. And it's like it's just sickening this week. You know, your team's not here. Like, is it really going to pain you if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, Nico?
Yeah, especially with Saquon being the leader of the charge.
Oh, by the way, who's your Super Bowl MVP?
I'll go Patrick Mahomes. I know that's basic, but if they win and score 32 points like I predict, he's probably going to have a big role in that.
Gotcha. All righty. Mr. Chief, Fugazi Chief fan, what do we got?
I think I'm going to surprise a lot of people right here with my pick.
You're taking the Eagles?
I am a fan of the Chiefs, but I'm also
You're a Jet fan. You've been a Jet fan your entire life.
I'm a diehard Chiefs fan. I don't know what you're talking about. And
well, no, actually, you're not. Here's why. Mike Pinnell joined us after the Super Bowl last year and said you had to get a tramp stamp tattoo and of the Chiefs, and you never did that.
Actually,
that I know. You want to reveal it right
now? Well, you know, maybe after we win. I don't want to jinx it because it's been a good year so far. But I'm also an objective sports fan and producer.
Can we stop with this objectivity? Just make the freaking pick.
Well, I'm going to be
you wanna
objective.
Pick the Chiefs. Just pick the
Just
Chiefs.
because I'm a Chiefs fan doesn't mean I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I'm an objective fan. Going to look at this game, and it's been said that the Eagles have better offensive line play. They have better defensive line play.
1 through 53.
Better on basically every part of this. So are we really just relying on Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes to take over the game and do what they always do? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Let's go, Chiefs. Chiefs Kingdom. They only scored. Come on, let's go. Let's go, baby.
What's the pick, though?
So
You're
the
taking
Chiefs,
What's
the Chiefs are clearly going to win this game. Now, they've only scored over 30 points once this entire season. That was last week against the Bills, 32 points. So I'm going to say it's going to go under 30 points. I'm going to go 27-24. The Chiefs are going to pull it off. I think it's going to be a last-second comeback. Maybe they'll be down 24-20, and they're going to have to pull out a Patrick Mahomes, fourth-quarter comeback touchdown to win it all. Chiefs, baby, three-peat. Call it Chief Pete. Call it Chief Pete.
Crappy Lee Corso, pretty much.
Let's
right
go.
There. Walmart Lee Corso.
Let's go.
So Hickey texted me. This is not good. But maybe a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while.
Oh, please tell me he's going Eagles.
Hickey's taking the Eagles.
Yes!
28-20.
Yes.
I'm going to go 31-23, and I'm taking Philadelphia. I said I was only going to have one spite pick a year. And my spite pick was when I picked Notre Dame to win the championship of Ohio State. I knew that had no shot. This one, I actually think the Eagles are winning. I think this is a very similar team and a better team than the Super Bowl 52 team. I think the Philadelphia Eagles, they get the job done, and they win this Super Bowl 31-23. So the show predictions, Ack goes 31-27 Eagles. Hickey takes the Eagles 28-20. I take the Eagles 31-23. Stu goes with the Chiefs 27-21. Samter takes the Chiefs 27-24. Nico Scarlatos, Kudavitas, Yamaliava, he goes Kansas City 32-22. By the way,
who do you have as the MVP?
I'm going Jalen Hurts.
Okay, not Saquon.
Yeah, throw some respect on Jalen Hurts' name. It's Saquon's birthday, by the way, in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard that storyline yet.
Do you think that would be the perfect way to end the Super Bowl, give him the MVP if he has a good game on his birthday?
Yeah, who cares? I don't need that lovey-dovey storyline. But seriously, I want to thank everyone here on site, from Gary to JT and Bobby and Dan. And obviously, we got Frank. I know all the names.
I know. I just was trying to help you along.
Do me a favor, and this has been a popular term as of late. Turn Samter's mic off, please. David Mayer, Nick, Ryan, Hurley, Samter obviously here, Nico back in the shop, all the people on the tape op, Stu as well, and a big thanks to Cap, too. So, fun week in New Orleans. I'll be back right here in New Orleans on Monday at WWL. We'll be doing the show for the Super Bowl. But enjoy the Super Bowl, Chiefs and Eagles. I'm taking, once again, the Eagles by a final score of 31-23. Enjoy, everybody. We out. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye. Peace.